He just slapped his father, but nobody knows he's actually his father's worst enemy from a past life. This guy got betrayed and eaten by monsters, only to wake up as a baby in a wealthy family. But there's a twisted catch. He realizes his new father is the exact same man who killed him in his past life. Now trapped in a crib, he decides to play the long game. He uses his baby status to get unlimited resources and secretly trains a forbidden lightning power. And the best part, he literally shocks his dad with lightning every time he gets held, and his dad thinks it's just static or a gift. He even frames the dad's loyal henchman for crimes he committed from the crib. He is raising himself to be his father's downfall. Yeah, let's get it. It all kicks off in a fancy delivery room where a woman is about to have a kid, just looking at a magazine. But she gets tired of waiting and yells at the nurses to get this baby out right now, still reading her magazine. Suddenly, a baby's cry fills the place and a worker runs to say good job to the grandfather. Then everyone starts saying good job to Mr. Liu, who says thanks for your kindness. He asks a maid where Shikwin is, and she says the young master had some things to do on Earth. The boy's grandpa is super mad his own son is not here, calling him a total deadbeat. Just then, a weird scream comes from inside the delivery room, scaring everyone outside. Worried, Mr. Liu stands up and asks what in the world is happening in there. Meanwhile, in the room, the mother is shocked from the bright light shining right in front of her. Coming into the room, the grandfather and his guys are totally frozen. The light was coming from the newborn, who was covered in yellow lightning and looked like he was loving it. The baby thinks that nobody would have ever thought a regular guy would be reborn into this family, and even wake up a god sense. A system screen pops up telling him that the lightning-type god sense turned on with sea-level power. The grandfather can't believe it because his grandson was just born with a power he himself could never get. Dropping his stick, the grandfather shouts about the amazing god sense his grandson has. Grandfather picks up his grandson and parties, saying the Liu family has finally made a one-of-a-kind smart kid. But the baby thinks that he's going to use this chance to take everything from the family and make sure his father never gets to be reborn again. The maids talk about how the young master is already smiling and did not even cry, which is a sign of a great future. The old man promises to use all the family's power to grow the boy. The newborn, who is also our main guy, thinks that the last 6 months since that bad guy took him out felt like a dream. 1 month after being reborn, his mother was drinking a special drink given to her by one of her maids. Right when she drinks it, a strong golden light starts to glow all over her body. He got a fast grow skill and hit D level, even as just a baby in the belly. He thinks about how regular people can never beat the power of the families, and how he is already at a level that many die trying to get. But our main guy wonders what kind of skill this is, as there are no stories about fast grow. 2 months later, he had a takeover problem from the mother's first baby, but got a prize. Using his fast grow, he ate the first baby and got its built-in lightning-type god sense. He's so happy to have a lightning-type god sense, which is one of the hardest to find powers. The main guy plans to use the family's best stuff to feed himself and get even stronger. 3 months later, his lightning-type god sense had already hit the middle stage of power. We see high shoes and women's underclothes all over the floor of his mother's bedroom. On the bed, a couple of pairs of feet are all mixed up, getting pretty close. We see the woman with a blonde guy while her son is still in her belly. The boyfriend asks if she isn't scared, and the lady says her marriage is just a business deal. The baby hears the man ask if he is the father while his mother just asks for more. The main guy complains that all this moving is messing up his energy take-in rate, so he lets out a lot of energy at one time, making her complain that it burned her from the inside. At 6 months, his power hits the top of D level, and he gets his mother's body type. A good-looking and calm face is watching. The man looks at the woman's belly and wonders when this kid is going to be born. Inside the belly, the main guy opens his eyes and glares at his father with a look full of hate. In his sight, he shows the man's face and calls him a dirty dog. In a quick memory, we see the young man in his old life being warned about awful monsters. One of his hurt friends tells brother Lao to get out of there as fast as he can. His friend is beat and yells for help while the young man just watches. Sadly, his friend ended up being eaten by a bad-looking monster while the young man watches it all go down. With a bad smile, the traitor tells his guys to feed the beast to make the spirit core. The man smiles in a mean way and laughs as he watches his target about to lose. At that time, the young man sees a giant spike coming his way, ready to hit him. His old friend stabs him with a huge stick, lifting him into the air with no care. The main guy looked at the hole in his chest, shocked by the lie he had just gone through. The bad guy starts laughing like crazy at his enemy's sad time. He laughs at him, saying that's what happens when someone like him thinks he is too strong. As he's thrown away, the young man says he tricked him just to feed the beasts. As he's dying, his only worry is what will happen to his little sister. He remembers when he said bye to one of them, promising he'd be home soon. Soon after, his old self grabs a weapon and gets ready to leave for a job. The door closes, and the 3 little girls are left alone, waiting for their brother to come back. Looking at the moon through the window, the girls wonder when their big brother will come back. Back in the belly as a baby fills with anger and promises payback on the one who took him from his sisters. With his power, the baby gets ready to punch his father, who is just outside. Then the little guy lands a solid punch right in the traitor's face, catching him totally by surprise. The hit of the punch sends the man flying, and the mother is shocked by the kick she felt. The boy's father falls to the floor in huge pain, not getting what just hit him. The woman complains that the kid is already acting wild before he's even properly born. The grandfather then tells the nurse to check what's going on inside that room. The worker says that the young master's gift is amazing, so his growth is fast. She then says, surprised, that the baby is about to be born and the mother is starting to have the baby. The boy thinks that before being reborn, his limit was the top of D level, and now he's close to breaking through. In huge pain, the mother screams for them to call the best birth team as fast as possible. When he turned 1 month old, the Liu family threw a huge party. A few important families from the south arrive, bringing gifts to party for the newborn. During the party, the grandfather watches a violin show with a maid by his side. At the same time, a 1-month-old main guy is calmly resting in the arms of one of the maids. One of the guests says good job to Master Leo on having a grandson, but the old man seems lost in thought. A guest says good job to the boy's father, while the baby stares at the man who beat him in his old life. He gets super mad seeing the enemy who took him from his sisters and promises payback right then. In his memories, he remembers his little sisters excited about a giant birthday cake. In his old life, he was on the phone with brother Chen, who was complaining about him being late for a job. The young man says sorry, and the traitor thinks that he only hired him because of talk that he needed money. The man tells him to use his head, and the young man says thanks for the work chance. His sisters waited excited to eat the small piece of cake on the table. The older brother says bye to one of them, promising he had a job but would be back soon. Then he grabs his weapon, which was kept in a bag, and gets ready to leave the house. The door closes, and the 3 little girls are left alone, nervously waiting for his return. From the window, the girls watch the moon while waiting for their dear brother to come back. Somewhere else, a man walks up to a glowing door in the middle of a dark forest. Smoking a cigarette is the same one who was saying good job to young Master G at the party. Young Master G, who looks to be the leader of this dangerous job. With his workers by his side, young Master G asks how the job is going. The man tells him they've been inside for a while and the beasts should be well fed by now. Young Master G says old Chen did well, saying he was raised well and is always very good. Then he turns to his woman friend and says they came just for her before leaving. But the woman laughs, saying he's just another lowlife from the G family trying to move up. With that, the group of traitors goes to the portal to leave the empty place. Meanwhile, one of our hero's friends warns him about a strong beast close by. The young master is surprised that someone is still alive, as he needs more food for the medicine. Old Chen says he does not know how that's possible since they were all just D-level fighters. Suddenly, a very loud noise gets everyone's attention, and they all look the same way. The group's leader looks at the mess with a serious look. Soon after, they see that one of the beasts has a new cut on its leg. The monster then glares at our hero, who is standing alone in the middle of that empty place. Even though he is tired and hurt, the young man stands strong, ready for the last fight. At that time, one of the traitors slowly walks closer. Young Master G demands to know where the thing came from and how it dared to hurt his beast. Seeing the one left, young Master G is surprised and calls him Yi Chen. The young man turns and calls out to brother Chen, not getting what's happening. Yi Chen's friend asks if he brought more guys, while the enemies run away. Back now, the baby promises to pay back the deep blood hate at that very time. He reaches out his arms and makes baby sounds at the traitor who watches him closely. The man cannot speak and stammers, trying to get what the baby wants from him. The boy's father says his son wants to be held, and that this is the biggest win of his life. With that, he picks up the baby and says thanks for the prize, while the little one pretends to cry. As soon as the man holds him, the little one starts to let out a yellow energy. Then he uses his lightning-type power to give his enemy a really bad shock. The traitor screams in pain as the electric charge runs through his whole body. From the shock, he ends up dropping the baby, who falls hard onto the big house floor. The women at the party are surprised and look toward the noise. The music players also stop playing, shocked by all the noise. The boy's grandfather watches everything with a serious face. With that, the boy's parents are shocked by what just happened. The little main guy on the floor, the old man, knows he just made a mistake. The baby starts crying loudly to keep up the act and trick everyone. The traitor freaks out at the mess and starts breaking out in a cold sweat. Terrified of what could happen, angry, the grandfather shouts at the man for having the nerve to drop the Liu family treasure on the floor. The coward falls to the floor, saying it wasn't him and that the young master did it himself. But the baby's father does not buy it and kicks him hard, calling the guy a dog. The kick is so powerful the man flies and lands hard on the big house floor. He starts to bow and begs his boss for forgiveness. He promises he would never hurt the boy and gives his own treasures to fix him from the fall. The little one's father looks like he is having fun with the whole thing and gives a mean smile. Then the boss tells them to drag the man outside and beat him up good. The traitor thanks him for the beating while the maid picks the baby up again. In the woman's arms, the little main guy gives a bad happy smile at what he did. With a hurt forehead, the enemy stares confused, not getting what went down. The little one keeps screaming and crying loud to keep his perfect act in front of everyone. The old traitor is shocked again that he started crying again. The The grandfather tells the maid to take the young master inside and see if he got hurt from the fall. The old man yells at his son, saying that with the family's place, they don't need a useless guy like that. With a mean sound, the head of the family turns and leaves the party mad about the whole mess. The boy's father is raging from the old man's words and squeezes the glass in his hand very hard. He breaks the glass cup with his hands. The host turns and gives a strong kick right to the traitor's face. Right after, he kicks him again and tells them to drag him outside and feed him to the house dogs. The guards grab him as he begs for help, but no one cares about his pain. The host tells the guests to keep the party going, and the baby thinks about how to take in more power. The doctor checked the little one and says he has an amazing body and is totally fine. The grandfather laughs and is happy that his grandson took no damage and is in great shape. But the most important thing for the boy now is to find his 3 sisters he left behind. He needs to grow up fast enough to move and get that woman's special power. The baby starts crying for milk and the doctor. With that, the old man orders them to call his son's wife to feed him and take more spirit medicine. The boy's mother complains that she just fed him and is already totally tired. The family head says she must work hard for the future of the clan and for the good of her son. The woman takes off her coat and gets ready to feed the baby again, even though she does not want to. The little one opens his mouth and starts crying as he waits to be fed by his mother. She starts to feed him and complains that the little troublemaker is sucking way too hard. Seeing that his son's wife is getting weak, the grandfather orders them to bring her the special soup. Soon after, we see the baby taking a bath with his mother in a hot spring. The woman complains that he's been sucking for a long time and asks if she owes him something from a life before. 3 months later, the baby is already crawling around the house and his power has hit sea level. In his old life, it took him a whole year to move up from basic D level to middle level. Back then, he did many dangerous jobs in portals and got hurt a lot of times. He moved from basic C level to middle level in just 3 months by drinking milk. During a family meal, the little main guy crawls toward the main table. Mad, the grandfather complains that some fool wasn't watching the young master and let him run around. The maid says sorry, saying the boy crawls so fast she can't catch him. The baby's father jokes that his son must want milk again, and the mother looks tired out. She complains that the boy has been on her chest for 3 months and that she needs a rest. But the little one thinks he can't waste time and needs to keep getting stronger and stronger. To everyone's shock, the baby stands up on his own for the first time. The grandfather and the butler are totally shocked to see the crazy sight before them. The boy starts walking toward his mother, who watches him surprised. The little one jumps on her and the mother screams for him to let her eat a meal in peace. The maid is amazed and points out that the young master is standing and walking around the room by himself. The butler says the boy has a godlike body and his growth is amazing. The grandfather is happy to see his grandson can already stand and watches him with pride. Then he says that by family rules, it's time to pick a personal maid for the boy. In a dark place, the old man asks about the results and a guard says only 2 are left. In his mother's arms, the main guy is taken to a made-up fighting area for the test. He watches everything closely when he suddenly knows one of the girls and is shocked. In a cell, a little girl with white hair is in a defense pose and looks scared. On the other side, a blonde girl runs forward, yelling to attack and beat her enemy in the arena. Shocked, the baby wonders what she's doing there and his body starts to glow strong. Then he uses his lightning-type power to shock one of the fighting girls. With the power of the shock, the blonde girl flies and lands hard on the ground, knocked out cold. The white-haired girl takes the chance to jump on the bread. Without thinking, the girl grabs the bread and starts eating it like she's starving in the middle of the cell. Mother's hair is all standing up. The main guy panics, hoping no one saw anything weird. The grandfather laughs and says his grandson has a much bigger fight spirit than his own father. The boy thinks that being a kid is good because adults always make reasons for him. The old man decides the little girl will be the maid and orders her to be cleaned and taught properly. The little one keeps eating wildly, not caring about anything else around her. The baby in the bed looks very happy and calls to his new maid with a smile on his face. Meanwhile, the butler explains that she is a death servant and must protect the young master. The little white-haired girl just nods her head, taking her new life. He also says she must follow the master and train in fighting while he sleeps. With that, the little maid goes to the baby's room to start her new job. When she gets there, the boy calls to her and points at himself with a very excited smile, but the girl pulls out a knife and her face changes to one full of hate and payback. The baby panics and tries to talk, but can't because of his baby voice. She says she's going to take him out to pay back her older brother's death right then. The girl lifts the weapon and gets ready to hit the little one in his bed. The maid jumps with the knife at high speed, ready to hit her open target. The boy moves away from the hit with amazing speed and jumps out of the bed. He lands on the floor, leaving behind an energy copy, much to the girl's surprise. Then the baby shows up beside her, leaving her totally shocked and quiet. Suddenly, the girl starts to let out a green light as she gets ready to fight. The main guy is shocked to see that the girl has a wind-type god sense. With that, she hits him with her wind power, but the baby uses his lightning to block. The 2 powers crash, lighting up the whole room with their bright and strong colors. He thinks that using both his powers at the same time is too much for his baby body. He has a smart idea to fix this hard mess. so the main guy points and uses his thunder god sense at a very low power level. With that, a small spear of lightning hits the girl. The shock stops her for a moment and she falls to the floor, unable to move right. The little one looks okay with the result, but is clearly very tired from the work. Lying on the floor, the maid can still feel the electricity moving through her whole body. He walks up carefully and touches the sharp blade that the little one cuts his finger on purpose, and a drop of blood shows on the tip. Then he uses his own blood to write a note on the floor for her. He thinks it's a good thing he's smart, and managed to think of this plan to talk. After reading the note, the girl gets everything, and the baby opens his arms for a hug. But the girl hits him again, and the baby remembers she can't read yet. He moves away from the hit and worries because if someone sees her trying to hit him, she'll be finished. Meanwhile, the trader walks through the big house holding a wooden box in his hands. In a fast memory, the boy's father says that he's only alive because he's still useful to him. Lying on the floor, the man thanks the young master for his kindness and promises to work harder. The boss says the grandfather is furious and that he must find a way to make the baby happy. The man thinks that he sold all he had to buy a rare thing at an auction. Suddenly, he hears the little master's voice and wonders what's happening in the room. With that, he opens the door and goes in the room, calling for the heir of the Liu family. When he enters, he sees the scene of the two of them running after each other around the room. Seeing a chance, the baby glares at the man with a dark look and a plan in mind. The trader is totally confused, not getting anything that's happening. Then the boy grabs the maid's hand and turns the knife. He uses his lightning power to give the white-haired girl a little shock on her forehead. She falls to the floor and the baby catches the knife in the air, finishing his perfect plan. Without stopping, the baby stabs himself in the shoulder and the knife gets covered in blood. The trader is completely shocked by the scene and screams in fear, not believing his eyes. Next, the boy throws the bloody knife toward the man watching him. The poor guy catches the weapon in the air and freezes in fear, not knowing what to do. In his shock, he ends up dropping the box he was holding. Then the little main guy takes a deep breath, getting ready for his big show. Soon after, he starts howling loudly on top of the passed-out girl on the rug. The man holds the bloody knife, totally lost about the whole thing. At the sound, the grandfather and the others come running to see what happened. The old man and his son stare at the scene with serious faces. The little one keeps crying and leans on the maid to make it look like he saved her. Furious, the grandfather points at the traitor and says he tried to hit his grandson. The man throws the knife on the floor and tries to defend himself, saying he wasn't the one to blame. But the father doesn't believe him and punches him for having the nerve to hurt his son. Scared, he explains that the girl hit the baby and he saved himself. The baby keeps up his crying act while the traitor screams in fear with a bloody nose. He swears to the old man that he is telling the truth, but no one seems to buy his story. The boy's father hits him with another punch and angrily asks where the present is. Scared, the man looks for the gift he dropped on the floor during all the mess. The grandfather says the little girl did well protecting his grandson and tells them to take her to rest. The old man puts his hand on the young master's shoulder, who gets stiff. The elder stares at him, his red eyes shining very bright with anger. He says he taught his son how to train dogs, but he almost lost the Liu family's hope. Then the group leaves the room, leaving the traitor on his knees on the floor, totally scared. The man starts to sweat and shake with fear of what might happen to him now. Suddenly, the baby's father turns and glares at him with a look full of hate. He kicks him hard and says he gave him a chance, but he dared to try and hurt him anyway. The man tries to explain, but the boss tells them to drag him out and feed him to the dogs. Seeing his plan work, the little main guy finally lets out a relieved breath at the result. With a cut on his shoulder, the little one looks at the passed-out girl on the floor, worried. Just then, the butler walks up and says he needs to take the maid to get help right away. But he panics when he remembers he wrote a note on the floor right under. So the boy lies down on top of the girl and shakes his head to stop the man from taking her. The worker then picks up the little master, lifting him off the passed-out girl. With that, the butler puts him back in the bed while the boy looks very upset. Seeing that the man is about to pick up the maid, he wonders if he should knock him out with an electric shock. Suddenly, an idea hits him and he looks toward the maid with a new plan in mind. The worker picks up the little girl, and a puddle of blood is left on the bedroom floor. The main guy is shocked to see that the maid is also really hurt. Seeing the blood mark on the girl's clothes, the butler is also very surprised. The little one is confused by the mess and does not get how she could have gotten hurt. Then he takes her outside and orders the young master's room to be cleaned up. Alone in the bed, the boy breathes a sigh of relief, but wonders what is going on, but he puts it aside as he has more important things to do right then. He jumps out of the bed, ready for his next plan. In a message room, a special oil is being made for his mother. The woman then gets a relaxing back rub from one of the house workers. The boy's mother looks very calm, enjoying her rare moment of quiet. But the piece ends when the little one calls for milk, suddenly surprising her. He crawls over to her, and the woman complains that he's here again with his big hunger. The boy starts to feed, and the mother complains, asking how long he's going to keep sucking, but he needs to speed up his growth so he can talk and explain everything to his maid. A week later, time is just flying by in the fancy Liu family big house. And just like that, our main character now looks like a 3-year-old and has finally learned how to talk. The little white-haired maid girl is still giving him some serious bad looks. She's still sure he's the one to blame for everything that happened with her older brother. So the kid turns to Yi and just says he is her brother. The girl is totally shocked. She just freezes up and her eyes turn a deep red. Then, he asks her if the cake her brother bought for her was any good. That question sends her back in her mind, and she starts getting super emotional. In her memories, she remembers her brother calling her and her other sisters to come eat some cake. The three little girls get crazy happy seeing a birthday cake right in front of them. She remembers her big brother cutting a piece of cake for his little sisters. The girl remembers him on the phone getting orders to join his team for a job. One of the sisters tries to grab a piece, but another one stops her, telling her to wait for their brother. After that, the three little ones are at the window watching the moon and waiting for him to come back. In that moment, the face of his old self shows up reflected in the full moon like a memory. In the moon's reflection, his old face mixes with his current baby face. He looks at the little girl with a soft smile, his eyes filling up with tears. Seeing it's him, she can't hold it in anymore and just starts crying. She falls to the floor and starts crying her eyes out, just howling. He covers her mouth and tells her to be quiet so no one finds out their secret. With his tiny hand, he tries to quiet the girl's sobs so they don't get caught. Right after, she throws her arms around him, hugging him as hard as she can, feeling a mix of relief and happiness. Still crying, the little girl asks if the one in front of her is really her dear brother. But the hug is so tight that he complains he can't breathe in his little kid body. She lets him go and our guy is a little dizzy, trying to get his breath back. Once he is okay, he gets serious and looks at his sister, needing answers. She watches him closely, tears still running down her face. So he grabs her and asks how she ended up here and where their other sisters are. With so many questions, the girl gets overwhelmed and asks her brother to slow down. Finally, the two of them calm down and get ready to talk about everything that's happened. The girl starts to explain that on that day, he left for a job and just never came back. In a fast memory, the three hungry sisters are waiting, staring at the cake he bought. One of the girls wondered why their brother was taking so long to get back. The youngest one even asks if he left them since he'd never been gone for so long. So Yi decided to go look for him and found out about him being gone at the job headquarters. There she saw another hunter's wife yelling at the traitor about her husband being missing. The guy, having no patience, called her crazy and pushed her away hard. Another hunter shows up and says the man went into the portal with young Master Leiyu and the others. In that moment, the little maid girl understood that this man was behind everything. The traitor just watches with a bothered look on his face, casually smoking his cigarette. He lets out his firepower, getting ready to hit the man who accused him. A fireball flies toward the man who's just frozen in fear by the attack. He takes a direct hit and his body is completely covered by the strong flames. The man falls to the ground, beat, while the others just watch the scene doing nothing. He warns them that spreading talk about the young master is a dumb move since the job was high risk. Our guy says the traitor got what he deserved for lying to them and then asks about the other girls. Hearing the question about the others, the little one's face changes and she looks really worried. She starts crying all over again, leaving her brother totally confused. Shocked by his sister's sudden reaction, he worriedly asks what happened to them. Through her tears, the girl explains she just wanted to get payback for her brother. But then a whole wave of demons just showed up out of nowhere. Flashback to portal tearing open, and everyone is just running for their lives as the attack begins. The memory of that demon wave has her totally scared. She runs through the wrecked streets screaming the names of her other two sisters. Meanwhile, a couple of hunters walk by casually saying that, yeah, this monster wave was a pretty bad one. She's left standing all alone, just watching as the city burns, completely destroyed. With tears running down her face, she runs without direction through all the mess and ruin. The poor girl continues her search alone, walking through the broken pieces of the city, hurt by the attack. With her hands all cut up, she falls to the ground, screaming her sisters' names in total sadness. That's when she remembers her brother and just breaks down, crying and wondering where he could be. Back in the present, our main guy comforts his sister, telling her not to cry because they've been given another chance. His eyes flash red as he promises that some guy named Chen is going to be the very first to pay for this. In some dark and wet prison, we cut to a hallway that's just covered in stains. The traitor is locked up, screaming that he's innocent and was just there to give a gift. Next thing you know, he is thrown against the cell bars, a look of pure fear on his face. Because surprise, a demon shows up right behind the scared prisoner. The traitor falls to his knees, begging for his life as the creature gets closer, its tongue hanging out. All we hear is a scared scream, and suddenly the prison hallway has a few more red stains. The traitor out of the way, our main guy says it's time to turn the whole Liu family upside down. Tears still in her eyes, his sister agrees, promising she'll do whatever he says. That's when she remembers she has a very important job to take care of with the main guy. So she just lifts him into the air, saying it's bath time, but he yells, saying that he's her brother. But the girl explains that now she's his personal helper and this is her daily job. And just like that, she starts carrying him off to the bathroom all while he's screaming that he absolutely does not want a bath. Cut to the bathroom where our main guy is now sitting in a wash bowl as she gets everything ready for his bath. She walks up to him and says it's time to get his clothes off, but our main guy says he can do it himself. But she's not listening, and with a smile, she just pulls his clothes right off. She looks down and says how cute his little thing is. The main guy is totally embarrassed, basically dying on the inside from the awkwardness of it all. Super embarrassed, he yells at her not to look, reminding her yet again that this is so not okay. She then says that since she's bigger now, it's her turn to give him a bath. Shocked, the main guy asks what in the world she's doing as she starts taking off her own clothes. The boy covers his eyes, completely embarrassed by what she is doing. Then she gets into the tub wrapped in a towel, leaving the boy totally surprised. While she's washing him, she talks about how much people are hurting out there while the rich just waste everything. Our main guy gets angry and says that fairness is something you have to take with your own hands. With that, his face gets a look of strong will to change their world. A moment later, the girl offers to scrub him better, sending him into a full panic. They start fighting because he says no, but she says she was told to do it. After the bath, the boy is on the floor while his sister puts his clothes away. He thinks how embarrassing it is to be the older brother but get treated like a baby. The girl asks what's wrong, but he just turns his face away, not answering. She gets sad and complains he's never been this cold to her before. To stop more talk, he gets up, says he's not upset anymore, and that he has a big question. The girl smiles sweetly and tells him to ask anything. So he asks if she has woken up wind element powers. His sister says yes. Our main guy is shocked because the earliest known case of someone waking powers was at age 12. He wonders how she did it being so young with no training. She just shakes her head and says she does not know how it happened either. She explains that a screen just showed up showing her numbers and telling her to wake her power. Our main guy is completely surprised to hear the word screen from her. Right then, he remembers his own system, the one that shows his thunder power. He looks at his screen and wonders if her message box is the same thing. Then he asks himself how his sister also got a screen and woke powers so young. She sees he is not paying attention and asks if something is wrong, but he just says it is nothing. He tells her that now that she has woken her power, she needs to train hard to get strong. With a serious face, the little girl says she's going to train super hard from now on. He pats her head and says that out of all the sisters, she was always the most grown-up one. Suddenly, they both hear a knock at their bedroom door. A maid says dinner is ready and that the master told their mother to make milk for him. She gives a full baby bottle to the main guy's sister, who just stares at it, surprised. She takes the bottle and our main guy walks over to her with a new plan in his mind. He says they need to use everything the Lu family has to get stronger and fast. The girl asks how they can do that since she is already training as hard as she can to level up. With a sneaky smile, he tells her to open her mouth and find the secret to power. Even though she is a little unsure, the girl opens her mouth, curious what her brother is doing. He then puts the bottle in her mouth and tells her to drink and see what happens. Doing what he says, she starts drinking the milk while our main guy watches her closely. All at once, a purple light starts spinning around her and she is shocked by the feeling. Confused, she asks her brother why so much power is flowing into her body so easily. The main guy explains that their mother's special body turns crystals into something like pure energy. He says it is a thing that even top teams would have trouble getting on jobs. But their mom can make this stuff nonstop, making her an endless source of power. His sister is shocked, saying this is something never heard of at the school. The main guy thinks the rich families are hiding secrets and making normal people fight their wars for them. With a hard look, he says they have to find every one of these hidden secrets. His sister then offers him the bottle, telling him to drink some too so he can get stronger, but he says no, telling her to finish it all and hit her power limit first. Then he starts walking away, his eyes on his next goal. He says out loud that he is going to go eat now, while his sister keeps drinking from the bottle. Getting to his mother's room, the maids wonder why he is back there again. The next thing we see is the boy feeding directly from his mother in the house pool. The woman complains she has already given so much milk that the little kid just eats and eats without end. One maid quickly tells the others to make more medicine meals for the lady. Our main guy thinks to himself that the payback starts now, and that he and his sister are about to change the very order of the world. As lightning strikes over the big house, he promises he will turn the Lu family totally upside down. Our hero crawls across his bedroom floor, a serious look on his face as he looks for something. At the same time, we see a fast memory of the traitor freaking out, screaming that the gift was in his hand as he looks for it like crazy. Then our main guy looks under a piece of furniture and sees the small box the traitor dropped. With a happy little smile, he grabs the gift, thinking it must be something super valuable to the family. He then opens the box and a strong blue light lights up his small face. Inside, he finds a big blue crystal and wonders if it is a magic beast crystal. A system screen pops up right away, telling him it is a rare thunder element skill crystal. The main guy is confused as he did not know skills could be taken in instead of trained. The system says that after hunting special beasts, there is a chance to get these rare things. Our little guy is surprised something like this exists, but gets suspicious, asking how the voice knows his thoughts. At that moment, he is totally shocked, a look of pure fear on his face as he understands what happened. The voice says it is in his mind and he laughs, saying he knows all about these ideas from stories. He remembers in his old life, he was a student who loved games and web stories that had system. In those tales, the main characters get prizes and turn things around, getting payback on their enemies. Mad, he yells that the system is no good, but the voice says that without it, he would not have even been reborn. The main guy stops, thinks for a second, and has to agree the strange voice has a point. With his arms crossed, he then asks about its link to his little sister's system. The voice says there is no link and tells him to get stronger and fast. He agrees and focuses, knowing he needs to take every chance he can get. He then sits on the floor and with hard focus starts to take in the crystal's energy. With that, a strong god energy starts flowing through his small body. A moment later, he holds out his hand and successfully calls his new skill, Lightning Spear. He is completely amazed, having just gotten a skill that should have taken 10 years to learn. He feels the power packed in the spear and wonders just how strong it really is. Without thinking twice, he throws the weapon with all his strength to test his new power. The main guy watches as his strong electric attack flies through the air. The sound of the blast gets the grandfather's attention, who comes running with the butler to see what happened. But what they find is the boy's father in his silly underwear, complaining to the main guy's mom about the noise. The grandfather and the main guy's little sister are completely stunned by the scene. The boy looks at the giant hole he just made in the big house wall with his new skill. Furious, the grandfather demands to know who did it, and the butler says he heard a lightning bolt come from the room. But seeing his grandson, the old man's mood changes and he lifts him up, celebrating his new god skill. He then praises the boy's mother, thanking her for being so good for the family. However, the boy's father seems annoyed by the whole thing and complains about the noise he made. At that, the grandfather yells at him, saying he should be proud of his son's amazing gift. The grandfather then decides he will take his grandson to the family's yearly hunting event. A moment later, the family head asks the butler if everything is set for the event. The old man laughs, saying his family line needs to learn their real value from a young age. Held in his mother's arms, our main guy is annoyed, having no clue what they are planning. And so the group walks down a long hall toward the place of the hunting event. Once there, the grandfather uses his energy to open a huge round gate in front of them. The gate opens, showing a big spinning swirl of bright purple energy to everyone. Standing before the space portal, the family head gets ready to lead the group inside. The main guy is stunned, realizing the Liu family can open space portals all by themselves. Gets mad thinking about how many secrets the powerful hide from the weak who are just trying to live. The group then steps through the portal and arrives in a thick, quiet forest on the other side. While the grandfather praises him, the main guy's mom complains that he never stops eating all day. Suddenly, the main guy's father points to the sky and yells a warning that something is coming. Everyone looks up to see a smoke trail getting close to them fast. The mystery thing moves through the trees at crazy speed. Soon, a giant snake with many heads shows up and brutally attacks a group of hunters. One hunter tries to hit the creature, but his weapon breaks while another uses a force shield to defend himself. When he sees a C-rank snake and a B-rank snake king in a C-rank portal, the main guy and his sister are in shock, and the girl knows one of the hunters. Just then, one of the snakes lunges toward one of the female hunters. To everyone's surprise, the red-haired girl manages to hold the creature's mouth open with her hands, but she's trying with all her strength to avoid being bitten by the giant monster's sharp teeth. Even so, the snake's strength is too great, and it knocks her away with one hit. The hunter's boss then yells for everyone to fight as they run from the dangerous area. The group's leader tries to fight the monster with a shield, but another hunter tries to attack him from behind. The red-haired girl runs and screams for him to look out, but the hunter's punch goes right through the shield, hitting the boss with full force. The force of the punch makes the hunter fighting the snake lose his shield. At that time, the giant snake is hit by a purple lightning bolt coming from another hunter. Another hunter yells angrily at the traitor for attacking their boss. The traitor just smiles badly as he gets ready to attack the other man. With a hard hit, he without care attacks the hunter, leaving him badly hurt. One of the other hunters is shocked as he seems to have known the attacker. He says the man is Kyuyong, a criminal who had been found guilty before. Kyuyong starts laughing like crazy at the hunter's fear. He then kicks the man, sending him flying with huge force. The hurt hunter flies right into the mouth of the giant snake, which was waiting for him. Our little main guy watches it all with a hard face. He remembers his old life when Kyui-shan threw a friend to his death. A splash of blood appears showing what just happened back. Then he watched his friends get taken out one by one. The monster they were feeding with their own friends comes out, big and scary. With a mean smile, the main guy's father tells them to feed the creature to make a treasure. He then tells Kyuyong to attack our hero's old self without a second thought. The bad guy runs toward the young man, ready to hit him, but the guy turns on his power and gets ready to crash into his enemy. A fist glows with strong energy as he gets close. Their two fists smash together in a hard, power-filled crash. He tells us that Kyuyong is like a monster who loves to break people. It is shown he was kept safe by the Liu family and is now one of their men. Back now, his sister wonders how they can possibly save the red-haired girl. But our main guy seems to have a thought and his eyes shine, a plan already forming in his mind. So he turns around and starts feeding again, which really makes his mom mad. She asks what in the world he is doing as our main guy fills his mouth with milk, making a strange face. He spits everything out, leaving her totally shocked. Disgusted, she screams at our hero for getting her all dirty and just throws him into the air. Seeing the mess, the boy's grandpa gets this angry look on his face because of the whole thing. Right after the main guy's little sister jumps into action. Just like that, she catches our hero in the air, saving him from the fall. The girl lands safely on the ground, holding her little brother carefully in her arms. She asks if her brother is okay, and he explains his big plan: make a big mess to save the hunter. Suddenly, our young man's father hits his wife hard across the face, leaving her completely surprised. He then grabs her tight and yells at her for being so careless with their son. Furious, the woman says that not even her own parents ever dared to touch her, and she gets super angry. With that, she calls an ice weapon and goes right after her husband, looking for payback. The man defends himself with his powers, saying she needs to be taught a lesson for her nerve. The kids watch closely as the fight happens right in front of them. The mother and father crash with their abilities, but a burst of energy suddenly shows up between them. The boy's grandfather shows up and the main guy's parents just stare at him. The grandfather says that as a mother, she must put her son first and not be so wild. With an angry glare, he tells them they both carry the duty for both of their families. At that, the couple calms down and puts away their weapons while the children watch from far away. The main guy's sister asks what they will do now, but he tells her not to worry because they are coming. Suddenly, the young maid hears a strange noise. The butler tells the grandfather that he felt movement coming from the nearby woods. The family also notices something coming and gets ready for a fight. Just then, 3 goblins come out of the forest with some really weird looks on their faces. From a higher spot, we see the goblins starting to get close to the main guy's family. The creatures start screaming like crazy, as if they are getting ready for a fight. Next thing you know, the 3 monsters are stabbed by wooden sticks that go right through them without care. The main guy's father wonders how this is possible since the area was supposed to have been cleaned before. The grandfather complains. This is what happens when all you know is how to cause trouble in bars instead of reading books. Just then, the boy's mother starts to glow with a purple energy. The little sister explains that their mother's special stuff pulls demon beasts, especially high-level ones. With that, the sounds of many goblin feet start getting closer, making the group nervous. Then a big group of top goblins shows up before them, led by a B rank. One of the monsters jumps toward the family, its axe ready to hit without mercy. Not bothered, the grandfather tells his men to handle the mess right away. And just like that, the family starts fighting the monsters using their strong element powers. Using all the mess, our main guy tells his sister it is time for them to get out of there. So the girl runs toward a cliff with her little brother in her arms. Without thinking twice, the main guy's sister jumps off the cliff, falling at high speed with our young hero. At that moment, the girl's eyes glow strong as she turns on her special ability. Using her wind power, she starts to fly through the sky, carrying her brother to safety. Our main guy asks when she learned to fly, and she says it was a prize from the system. Surprised by this news, our main guy gets flustered and asks what kind of job it was. The girl shows with a smile that the system's job was just to give her brother a bath. In a fast memory, we see that after finishing the job, she got the rare flight skill as a prize. Our main guy gets annoyed, wondering how a system could give such a great prize for such a silly job. The main guy's little redhead sister is fighting bravely against a snake, hitting it with her sharp sword. But then another huge snake shows up and attacks the other hunters, breaking their shields easily. With one strong hit, the creature sends one of the hunters flying, completely breaking her guard. Down on the ground, the woman desperately yells to her boss that they cannot keep fighting anymore. The group's boss then faces Kyushing, asking why he is attacking them like this. With a bad smile, the traitor says he likes hearing the screams of his targets. The leader asks who his master is, and says that breaking the guild's deal is against the law. The bad guy says that laws are only for the weak and for normal people like them, and that he does not care at all. Right after, he runs toward the boss at high speed, ready to land a hit. But instead, he attacks one of the female hunters, catching her off guard with his crazy speed. Beat, the woman begs her boss to save her from this awful, heartless man. Without any care, the traitor throws her right into the giant snake's mouth as food. The giant snake eats the hunter without a bit of pity right in front of everyone. In fear, the boss yells that the job has failed and tells everyone to run for their lives. The redhead girl is frozen with fear and shock from the scary scene she just saw. Blinded by anger, the group leader charges forward with his sword, screaming that he is going to finish the traitor. He lets out a strong hit, but the bad guy moves fast and gets away from the attack easily. In a flash, the traitor hits back and lands a direct hit on the boss. Seeing her boss hurt, the young woman calls the man a monster and gets ready to fight. She then throws an object at the enemy, trying to get some time. But the traitor does not even move since the rock the girl threw does nothing to him. The hit just tears part of the traitor's shirt. The bad guy says it is too bad they ran into him here because they are all going to die. He jumps toward the girl, his sharp claws ready to strike. Scared, the young woman is surrounded by the pieces of a broken sword. At the last second, the boss throws himself in front of her, taking the killing hit in her place. The leader falls dead to the ground as the traitor just ignores him and moves on. The traitor throws the boss's body, which is then eaten by the giant snake. Scared, the girl screams in fear at the scary scene she just saw. We see the giant snake eating the boss as purple lightning jumps from its body. The bad guy looks at the girl and says it is too bad because he wanted to add her to his group. He wanted to turn her into one of his things to show her off like a trophy. With his bloody hand, he gets ready to attack the girl. The bad guy then puts his hand on her face as she cries, completely lost. In her last moments, the girl cries out for her brother and sister, wondering where they are. Suddenly, a giant lightning sword appears, and a voice says they have come to save her. The traitor turns and manages to block the strong attack with his arm. The hit causes a burst of yellow energy, but the bad guy just hits it away. The young woman looks up in surprise and calls out her sister's name. Just then our main guy and his sister land on the ground, ready for battle. The girl knows the main guy's old look and calls him brother. Our main guy tells his sister he will explain everything later, but right now, they have bigger things to deal with. Meanwhile, the red-haired girl is just watching him with this what in the world is happening look on her face. Facing the snake, our hero knows the beast has grown by eating people who woke powers, something that has never been written down before. At the same time, the bad guy looks like he's breaking free from something as this strong yellow energy spins around him. With a last push, he lets out all his power at once, breaking whatever was holding him back in a flash. Bad guy then glares at them and laughs, asking if it is not the young master and his little maid girl. And just like that, the three siblings face their enemy, ready for the fight that is about to happen. The redhead asks, totally confused, how they knew about her and why they had the other little girl with them. But the bad guy just ignores her question and starts planning how he is going to handle this new mess. The main guy then knows his enemy is not some dumb follower, but actually a pretty smart guy. The man shows his master plan, turn the maid girl into a mindless doll, and bring the main guy to his boss. We then see the result of the bad guy's power, having taken down several hunters without care. Many weapons made of red energy show up floating over the beat hunters, shown that the enemy has a metal-type power, letting him join weapons with his own body. Our main guy then looks at their power levels and knows the space between them is just huge. But then a thought sparks in our main guy's mind, and his eyes light up. He turns to his sisters and tells them to listen close and follow his lead. On the other side, the enemy gets ready to fight as a strange energy comes from him. The bad guy starts a lightning-fast attack with his claws, aimed straight at our main guy. Seeing the danger, his sisters jump back and he gets ready to hit back. He then turns on his god lightning-type waking, letting out a huge yellow energy. Our main guy uses his power to dodge the bad guy's attacks at super speed. The bad guy is shocked when he sees the kids move, knowing it as a forbidden skill. He then remembers that a while back he beat someone who used that exact same move. In his memories, he remembers the fight against our main guy's old life. Putting it together, he knows who the kid is and starts laughing at the crazy chance. However, the main guy's child-sized body cannot take that much power and starts to fail. Knowing he only has one try, he yells his sisters' names to start the real plan. The bad guy hears a noise and turns his head toward the sound. At that moment, the red-haired sister shows up, holding a giant rock, ready to crush the enemy. Without a second thought, the girl throws the huge rock right at the bad guy. But the enemy gets away from the attack easily, and the rock breaks on the ground from the hit. He then notices a weird sound and a line of green energy moving fast across the ground. The man immediately gets ready for a fight, seeing the energy coming his way, ready for anything. Suddenly, a huge storm of wind and dust forms right in front of him. The one behind this attack is the other sister using her wind power. Even inside the tornado, the enemy is completely not bothered, saying these are just cheap tricks. Using the mess as cover, our main guy focuses his power and makes a full-power lightning spear. Using a god fighting skill, he throws the weapon with every bit of strength his body has left. The bad guy spins around surprised and curses our main guy for being so sneaky as he gets ready for the hit. The lightning spear hits the bad guy right in the head, hurting him bad on impact. The attack is so strong it goes straight through the enemy and keeps going up into the sky. The spear's energy causes a huge blast, leaving a line of ruin in the forest. Tired out, the main guy falls down, and his sister immediately starts yelling at him for using such a risky move. With that, both girls watch over him, super worried about his state after he pushed himself so hard. Even though he is hurt, the bad guy just smiles and says it does not matter because he is going to protect the young master from the two little girls. With a creepy smile, he shows a sharp blade, ready to go all out again. Wasting no time, he runs toward the two girls at high speed to finish them off. The maid girl yells a warning and jumps in front of the redhead to block her from the enemy's coming attack. With a mean hit, he lands a direct hit on the white-haired girl with huge force. The hit sends her flying, and she ends up hitting hard against a tree. The bad guy then stares down the other young woman and tells her not to worry. Her turn is coming right up. He changes his hands into sharp blades and gets ready for his next heartless attack. With his blades, he pins the young woman down and tells her to be good food for his plans. But a yellow bolt of lightning zaps in and knocks the attack away, saving the girl at the very last second. The enemy then takes aim at the main guy, ready to run him through with his small knife. He holds the weapon tight and brings it down, fully meaning to end the boy right there. Blade then cuts into our main guy's back, hurting him badly. The bad guy sends him flying while the red-haired sister watches in complete fear. The girl then manages to get free, grabs her hurt brother and makes a run for it. The bad guy clenches his fist, asking why our main guy is in such a rush to meet his end. But our main guy, held in his sister's arms, says that actually the enemy is the one about to be beat. With his eye bleeding, the bad guy is furious at the little kid's nerve. Suddenly a person shows up in the sky, yelling and calling him a bad dog for having the nerve to attack his master. This is our main guy's grandfather, who is glaring at him with eyes of pure anger. The bad guy then understands that the earlier flashy attack was actually assigned to get the family's attention. Just smiles, confirming the smart plan he made. Flashing back a bit, the family gets to the fight spot, and the butler says the young master is gone. Father complains that the kid can already walk, and the butler tells him that the maid girl has also disappeared. Furious, the head of the family yells at his men to hurry up and find the two of them. Just then, they see the trail of light from our main guy's attack and know exactly where to go. The grandfather then uses his lightning power and flies at top speed toward the sign. Getting to the scene, the grandfather immediately looks at the mess, and the bad guy starts to panic. He then thinks his only chance is to grab the main guy to use as a shield. He runs full speed at the siblings to try and take them, but the red-haired sister pulls out a staff and gets ready to hit back to protect her brother. She lets out a strong hit on the enemy, who totally was not ready for that. The man is stunned by the girl's attack and glares at her with pure rage. All of a sudden, the main guy's father shows up angry and calls the bad guy useless for his fails. He then attacks the bad guy, who tries to run, saying none of it was his fault. However, the man ends up trapped by one of the area's giant beasts with nowhere left to run. Without care, the creature attacks him all at once, giving him zero chance to get away. After that, the snake starts to change, turning into a strong golden creature. The butler runs over to the children and says that our main guy is okay, even with the cut he took. The grandfather praises the girls and says the snake is now ready for them to take its rare treasure, and that is when it hits him. The rich families are using normal people to feed and grow these beasts. With that, the grandfather and his son get ready to face the powerful golden creature that has come out. The crash between them then makes a huge blast of red energy all through the forest. Out of the smoke, two people come out as the kids watch everything happen from a safe spot. Our hero then puts two and two together. The rich families are using normal people to feed and level up these beasts. Right after, Grandpa and Dad get ready to fight the powerful golden creature that just showed up. He then says this take was way better than what he was hoping to get that day. Grandpa orders the butler to take the two girls to collect the left stuff for the storage room. In his head, the old man is already planning to mix the bad items with junk to sell off to the average hunter. And for the top quality items, he wants to raise the prices and make the frontline teams pay a lot. He then hands over the poison bag for his son to use and make some important new friends. All the while, our guy's dad just watches with a sly smile on his face. Grandpa hands over the silver snake's horn to be taken to the sale house. As for the scales, he says he's going to turn them into safe treasures for his precious grandson. Hearing all this, our main guy is left with a confused look on his face, totally mixed up by their action. With that, the butler bows before his master and agrees to follow all of his orders. However, the kid's dad steps in and asks his father to hand over the Snake King's essence. Grandpa complains, saying he has a great wife and that it would be better for her son to share with him. Just then, the main guy's mother walks up while his sisters watch from the back. Our hero's dad is shocked by her being there and just stares, unable to react. His face then changes to anger and he grinds his teeth hard. In his sister's arms, the main guy looks back and stares at the man with a very serious face. Grandpa then throws the snake essence to the butler, who catches it out of the air easily. Holding the energy ball, the butler is amazed by the power it is putting out right now. The head of the family says his oldest son is changing and that this will be useful. Kneeling, the butler thanks him for being kind and promises forever loyalty to the family. A few days go by, and we see the fancy Lu clan big house under a star night sky. In the room, our hero holds a necklace while his sister tells him that Shuang is now his maid. And just like that, the two sisters show up dressed in maid clothes and smile at him. He then looks at the necklace, and a system message tells him he has gotten a rank a safe item. Seeing his face, one of the girls asks with worry what is wrong with her brother. Suddenly, the boy's eyes glow and he zaps the necklace with his lightning power. He's using his lightning skill to try and power up the necklace. Huge burst of yellow energy then shoots out from his bedroom window. The two sisters stare at our hero, completely shocked by the show of power. Even with the electric burst, the necklace stays completely fine without a single mark. He thinks to himself that this little test proved that beasts grow if they eat people who woke powers. Our main guy knows that the rich families use regular people as bait for their plans. This way, they get their hands on strong resources and gear that the weak would never have access to. But what they teach at the school is that the rich risk their lives to protect the powerless. Remembering all this lying, our main guy gets furious and clenches his fists. The sisters then ask if info is really that powerful. He turns and explains that he is only now starting to get how dangerous not having info is. He then says that from now on, they must use the Lu family to gather more news. With a set look, the two girls agree to follow their younger brother's plan. A moment, Hero asks Shuang why she was with that god team. She holds back from answering, and the other sister says that she wants to know why her own power is so strong. The red-headed sister is left quiet, and the other just stares at her hard. Then the main guy asks about the other sister named Sanson, and the young woman gets tight. Upon hearing the other girl's name, the young woman is totally in shock. With tears in her eyes, she tries to explain what happened to Sanson. She then falls to the floor and starts to cry her eyes out, unable to stop. At that, the main guy covers her mouth and warns her that you cannot cry loudly there. After calming down, she sits on the bed still very shook by the mess. She starts to explain that on that day went out to look for their brother and never came back. In a fast memory, we see a hungry little Shuang staring at a piece of cake. Her hand reaches out to grab the cherry on top of the cake. She has a sad look on her face, waiting for her brother and sister to come home. She then decides to go look for her brother, and why, so they can come home sooner. So Shuang starts looking through the dark house, calling out Sans's name. Scared, she runs down the dark hall and asks her sister to stop playing around. Back in the present, the boy is shocked to learn that Sanson ran away from home. She explains that from the roof, she saw that the beast wave was caused by a bad person. Our hero asks if the beast wave is not supposed to be a wild natural disaster. In her memories, she was desperately looking for Sans across the city's roofs. She was then trying to open a door, begging for the little one to get out of there fast. Just then, she looks to the side with a face of pure fear and worry. On the roof, she saw a mystery man holding a staff under the full moon. The man's face was hidden in the dark, but his eyes glowed with a strong red light. He then raised his staff, which started to glow with a powerful energy. With that, he slammed the staff on the ground, letting out a huge wave of energy. A huge red magic circle then formed on the ground, lighting up the whole area. The circle then shot a beam of red light that went up toward the dark sky. The beam tore a hole in the sky, making a red portal. A giant lizard eye showed up in the portal, and Shuang was totally scared. A moment later, the mystery red portal just showed up in the night sky, and from it came out several red demon beasts, ready to wreck the city. With tears in her eyes, Shuang is totally scared just remembering that scene. In her memories, she was all alone and surrounded by huge red demon beasts. From the portal in the sky, many creatures poured out, attacking everyone in sight. She explained she was being chased by a demon wolf when a screen showed up. The system then told her she had woken a god power of body training. Following the system's orders, she made a huge jump between two buildings to get away. Back now, she tells them she ran until she found the fight team that took her in. Our main guy is shocked that another system has shown up and by all the miracles happening to them. He says that if they all have systems, Sanson might have one too and could still be alive. Our hero agrees and says they will use the Liu family's connections to find clues about her. Suddenly, Shuang says she got a job from the system with a prize. Without any warning, she scoops her brother up in her arms, leaving him completely surprised. He is scared and wonders if that is going to happen to him again. The two sisters run off excited because the system's job is to give their brother a bath once more. The two sisters are excitedly running through the big house with our main guy, who is yelling his head off about their crazy system. And just like that, they get to a huge, fancy bathroom to start the job they were given. The redhead then lifts our little guy into the air, saying how cute he is, while the other one totally agrees. His sister keeps up the teasing, seeming to find the whole thing pretty funny. This leaves our boy totally embarrassed, and he starts screaming his lungs out from pure awkwardness. Now in the tub, one of the sisters washes his hair while the other watches him with a smile. The two of them seem to be having fun, splashing water everywhere during the young master's bath time. After the bath, they hold him and say what a good little boy he was, but he complains that they have changed. Suddenly, the red-haired sister stops dead in her tracks, a very nervous look washing over her face. Seeing her reaction, our main guy worriedly asks what happened to make her look like that. She then points with a scared look on her face, showing that the beast wave was caused by that person. The main guy and his other sister are totally shocked by the news they just heard. Somewhere else, we see the butler walking next to a man with a cut on his face. Zooming in, we get a better look at the man's face, which has a very serious and scary look. In a fast memory, the girl sees the same man on a roof using a staff to make the beast wave. In her memory, the man makes a huge red magic circle that tears open the sky. From this portal, a giant lizard eye shows up, leaving the girl totally scared. So our main guy says he is the son of the future family head and tells them not to freak out. With that, the three of them keep going down the hall. While the two men walk further ahead, our main guy glares at them with a serious and suspicious look as they pass by. As they walk past him, the red-haired sister gets very nervous and cannot hide her fear. The man with the cut sees the girl's reaction, but does not say a single word. Getting closer, the two sisters greet the butler with forced smiles on their faces. The butler then bows to our main guy, calling him respectfully as young master. The main guy watches the two of them walk away down the hall with a very stern look. They get to a door, and the butler says that Joe King has returned to see the master of the house. The main guy knows it is the meeting room and decides to listen in on their talk. His sister gets worried and asks if they will not be found there, but he tells her not to worry, seeming to have a plan in mind for this. With the plan going, they sneak closer to the door. The main guy then bursts into the room with his sisters, and a guard yells that he cannot go in. Inside, his grandfather is sitting at his desk with the two men who look at the mess in surprise. The sisters bow and say sorry desperately, saying they could not hold the main guy back, but the little guy ignores all of it and runs with his arms wide open, calling for his grandpa. The head of the family tells the others to leave and tells his grandson to come to him with a smile. With our main guy on his lap, he talks about the family's power and asks about the new beast waves. The butler and the man with the cut listen closely to the master's order. The man then says they have already found new groups of beasts and could hit at any moment. Hearing this, our young hero gets furious, knowing the school is lying and sending students straight into a danger zone. In a fast memory, we see a teacher saying the waves are a natural disaster and that the people who woke powers are protectors. The butler says he has already made plans for the guild to post jobs with high prizes, pulling many teams. The grandfather praises the man, saying his family has served theirs for 3 generations, and he is very happy with that. The butler then makes a sign to the man with the cut, who seems to get the message right away. Without a second thought, the man kneels on the floor and says, "It is an honor to work for the Liu family." The butler thanks him for the gift that helped his son reach the top of B rank and says his thanks for the master's kindness. The family head smiles and orders them to go ahead with the beast wave plan as they had set up. The man stays kneeling and takes his master's order without question. The grandfather also orders them to get ready expensive gear and fun services for the ones left alive. See a fast memory of a guy who looks like a younger version of our main guy's grandpa relaxing in a hot tub with several girls, while a maid watches from far away. Butler bows before his master and takes all the given orders without holding back. Night falls and we see the huge and fancy Liu family big house under the moonlight. Back in the room, our main guy explains the family's plan to his sisters to open portals and use people as food. He says they use the ones who woke powers to fight the beasts, letting them gather tons of valuable resources. His sister is outraged and asks how they can be so mean, wondering if those people are not seen as human. Our main guy then explains that to the rich, they are the only humans and everyone else is just animals. The red-haired sister says to tell everyone about the plan, but our young man cuts her off. He says that even if they tell the truth, nobody will believe them. This leaves the two of them worried, and they ask their brother what they should do now. Our main guy then says they're going to take down the Liu family's men and stop the beast wave. He then calls his 2 sisters closer to him to explain the plan. The 2 girls lean in to hear what he has to say. Whispering, he tells them his plan and they listen with full attention. The boy asks if they got everything and the 2 of them nod yes, but they are still worried, asking if they can really beat such a strong enemy. The main guy says they have 3 weeks to get ready since the plan starts at the end of the month. He holds up his baby bottle and says they need to power up, but his sister is totally confused about how. At that moment, our young hero and his white-haired sister share a knowing look. Without waiting, he puts the baby bottle in the other sister's mouth, who is taken by surprise. She drinks the milk and is shocked to feel her power going way up without even training. Our main guy then runs off, saying he is going to get a bite to eat too. While they finish the milk, the main guy's mother is sitting quietly when she is suddenly interrupted by her son. She then complains that his hunger just keeps growing, calling him a little troublemaker for never being happy. 3 weeks later, our main guy wonders if he has hit his limit while looking at a system screen. The system tells him about a new skill, and he wonders if he can be born into a host. He thinks if he can get back to his current state without having to, spend another 9 months in the belly. Also, our young man knows he can use his new skill as a hit method. Picture shows how his new move can be used to directly hit his enemies. Just then, his sisters burst through the door excited, saying that everything is all set. Gathered in the room, the 3 siblings start to talk about their plan to stop the coming enemies. In another scene, the white-haired sister whispers that she has already dug up everything on the man named Joe Chun. She shows he is a god-waking master and one of the top finishers from his school class. Then another maid tells them to keep it down, warning them about the danger that man is. Back in the siblings' meeting, the red-haired sister says saying she has also uncovered some important news on it. It seems the Lord gave him a high-level essence, pushing him to the top of B rank. Hearing this, the youngest sister knows he is much stronger than the last enemy they faced together. The main guy then looks at his own power, saying he has only just reached the starting stage of C rank. He says that Shuang hit the top of D rank in 3 weeks, but even together, they still do not stand a chance. But the redhead perks up, telling them not to worry because she unlocked a new skill after giving him a bath. Both sisters get super excited and ask what kind of power she managed to wake. With a proud smile, the girl says her new move has a really cool and big name. She then strikes a pose and yells that the skill's name is Bloodthirsty Rush. The hero's sister is impressed by the name while the main guy looks a little embarrassed. Confidently, she explains that the move makes her 5 times stronger for 30 seconds. She brags that with her new power, 1 punch will be enough to send the enemy flying to the other side of the planet. Fired up, she starts shadow boxing while her other sister claps happily. The main guy cracks a confident smirk. He already has an idea for the plan, but he cannot help but wonder why the system gave them such great skills just for bathing him. Still, he is worried because their power might not be enough to beat the enemy. Seeing her brother's worry, the redhead asks what kind of news he managed to gather for the plan. The main guy then flashes a very cocky grin before showing his big secret. He says his news is key, and that he found the enemy will be active in the city at 1 in the morning. We then see that the main guy heard the man with the cut telling his grandfather that everything is ready for his 1 a.m. hit. Upon hearing this, the red-haired sister is totally shocked by the news. She starts to panic, saying that is exactly where her god-waking group's base is. She then yells that the boss is in danger and runs to warn the others about the hit. But our young hero stops her, grabbing her arm and using a bit of his lightning power to hold her back. He then tells her not to be so fast as they still have time to act and save everyone. With a set look, he says he already has a plan to beat Joking. Both sisters get super excited, asking if he really has a plan already. Our young hero then leans in and starts whispering the details of his secret plan. He says with confidence they have more than enough time and that tonight they will take down Jo Chung. Both sisters nod in agreement, ready for the job. Night falls over the city and a full moon lights up the scene for the job that is about to begin. The clock on the wall hits midnight, showing the time for the surprise hit is getting close. Dressed in black gear and masks, the three siblings get ready to start the job. Our trio of heroes then jumps from a roof, starting their nighttime sneak in. They fly through the night sky with the full moon in the back. Going down toward a building, one of them says they found a sign and that the target is there. The white-haired sister thanks her friends from the pomegranate group for saving them some time. Looking down, they see the building where a light is shining, showing the enemy's spot. Moving along the side of the building, the trio quietly gets close to their target. They then duck behind a wall and watch the enemy from far away. On the roof, the man holds a staff that glows with a red energy. One of the sisters gets ready to hit, but the main guy stops her, telling her to be calm and patient. The bad guy then starts to focus a huge amount of power into his staff. As he does, red lightning crackles from the weapon as he gets ready to let out all its energy. Seeing the perfect chance, the main guy yells for his sisters to hit now. With that, the redhead punches the ground, tearing out a huge piece of concrete from the floor. She throws the slab with all her strength toward their enemy. The man easily gets away from the hit, but the rock still scrapes his face. The hit of the blow leaves him stunned for a short moment. Furious about surprise hit, he shouts, asking who dares to hit. He glares at the hole the thing left in the wall behind him. At that moment, the other sister uses the mess to grab the enemy's staff. Knowing what happened, the bad guy whips around furious and gets ready to hit the girl. The bad guy then uses his god whip skill, hitting with his changed arm. The long limb shoots toward the girl at high speed, but she uses her leg to knock the hit away and the staff to jump away from it. With that, the sister throws the weapon away from the enemy with all her strength. The enemy turns and sees the staff flying through the air. The bad guy uses his god whip skill to try and get his weapon back. Suddenly, a yellow bolt of lightning shows up, flying toward the bad guy with huge power. The man panics, knowing it is too late to run from the hit. Then the lightning scores a direct hit, causing a huge blast of energy. Seeing the result, the main guy tells his sister they got a clean hit on him, but the enemy comes out from the smoke, his arm totally burned, and screams at them in a rage. The main guy and his sister are totally shocked to see he lived through the hit. The bad guy threatens them, saying he will make them regret the day they were born. Without wasting a second, the enemy jumps toward the trio, ready for a fight. Our young hero then slides back and yells for his sisters to switch to Plan B, holding the enemy's weapon. The white-haired sister gets ready for the next move. She then spins the staff with huge force, getting ready for the next part of the plan. At that moment, she throws the staff toward her brother. The main guy catches the staff just as the red head and the bad guy face off, letting out their fight auras. The siblings jump right into the mess to save the red-headed huntress, who is in some serious trouble with a bunch of monsters. The girl starts to match the man's strength, going blow for blow with him. He is blown away by the girl's power and wonders who these kids are to be so strong at such a young age. However, Kwang is not bothered in the slightest. Just then, our main character pulls out the red stick and gets ready a seriously strong skill. Then, the little guy calls a huge bolt of lightning from the sky, crackling with huge and total energy. The trader is totally lost about what is happening and wonders what in the world that strange skill is. With that, a red portal tears open in the sky, and demon claws start reaching out from it. The boy sees the danger and screams for everyone to get out of there right now before it is too late. Kwang then pushes the girl, sending her falling to the ground. Right after, our hero throws a baby bottle, sending it flying straight at the bad guy. The man blocks the bottle, but it bursts on hit, totally soaking him in milk. Kwang is just confused, trying to get why he was just hit with a baby bottle. A red beast shows up and the bad guy laughs, saying they helped him finish his job like a bunch of fools. But up in the sky, a yellow light starts to glow and the trader looks up curious. Suddenly, a beam of golden energy flies by and hits the beast that had just bitten, but he easily shakes the beast off. Kwang says that since they helped him finish his job, he will be on his way. Just then, the man knows he has walked right into a trap as blue energy arrows start flying toward him. A pack of red wolves also runs in his direction. The trader then scoffs, asking if they really think this is enough to stop it. With that, the wolves jump on him while he is busy dodging the energy arrows. Our main character just stands there watching as the bad guy gets close for a direct hit. Two girls look very worried. Kong runs forward at high speed to hit our boy with the wolves right behind him over our boy. The enemy laughs and says the kid cannot trick him with such a weak trick. Kong had led the pack right toward our boy. The girls scream in fear for their brother, who is about to be hurt by the animals, but our hero shouts for them not to come any closer and to stay away from the fight. The bad guy is curious when he hears the boy's voice, wondering where he has heard it before. At that, he turns to look at the little guy trying to place that known voice. The traitor is totally shocked when he finally knows the main character's voice, And just like that, the wolves ignore the boy and jump straight for Kwang. Kwang screams asking why the wolves are only chasing him and not the kid too. Kwang then calls a purple energy shield to defend himself and fight back against the wolves. The wolves hit and he defends himself. However, there are just too many of them and things get more and more messy until the monsters finally took him down. The small main character pulls his stick from the ground. The red lightning in the sky disappears and on the ground all that is left are the remains of Kong for the wolves to clean up. The sisters run over worried, calling out to our boy who is completely tired out. At that moment, the pack of red wolves turns its look to our boy. The two girls right away jump in front of the little guy to protect. They tell their brother to leave the rest to them. The sister in red shouts excitedly, calling out for the vice boss who has just come to help. From above, a woman with purple hair comes down with her team, ready for combat. Our boy says with relief that the job is done and they can finally go home. The next day at a fancy big house, someone is screaming their head off. Grandpa is on his feet mad while another man is kneeling. The servant is in tears, begging our boy's grandpa for forgiveness, saying they failed in their jobs. The boss yells that Joe ruined everything at a key moment, making him even more furious. The butler asks the master to calm down, saying he will look into everything and give a reason. With a shaking hand, the older man seems to relax a bit, but he is still incredibly ticked off. The master says the Liu family will pay back his son's fall and that he will not forgive the traitor. The servant thanks the boss and promises he will do everything to find out who is behind the hit. Just then, a woman opens the door and calls for the butler, who is still kneeling on the floor. Our boy's mother complains that the baby is hungrier than before and that she had plans to go shopping. Grandpa laughs and says it is normal for him to eat more since he is a growing boy. He keeps saying the little boy is the hope for both families' futures. Grandpa then says that a few families have asked to set up a marriage for the child. The mother is surprised, wondering how her son is already so popular with the other families. Grandpa explains that the boy's name has spread and that he must deal with this mess as soon as possible. The main character is shocked, wondering what kind of weird marriage plan this is. The two girls hear the talk and are stunned by the news of their brother's marriage plan. Our little guy closes his eyes and nods, saying that what they heard is true. The sisters do not seem too happy about the news of him getting married. The white-haired girl asks if he's going to marry the kids of those bad guys. Our boy smiles and says he would never leave them and that he does not want those spoiled kids around anyway. The girls smile, relieved and happy to hear his promise. Outside, rich families get to the big house, bringing gifts for the marriage plan. The butler organizes the getting ready, giving orders to make sure everything is perfect for the event. The main character's mother complains to Grandpa, saying the butler could have handled everything himself. The head grandpa says his own useless son cannot manage these things, so she needs to learn how to be the lady of the house. At that moment, a maid hurries down the hall toward the butler. The young woman gets close to the servant and whispers in his ear. The butler rushes over to his grandpa, who is seated. The servant then leans in and whispers in the boss's ear about what he just found out. Grandpa's face turns serious and thoughtful. He then stands up and invites his son's wife to come in and join the marriage meeting. The woman walks in holding our boy in her arm. The butler says that a sealed letter from the second young master has come straight from the royal cap. With a serious look on his face, the main guy's grandfather takes the letter. He then hands the letter to our hero's mom, who is holding him in her lap. Our hero thinks to himself that sealed letters are how rich families pass along important news. He then reaches out for the letter, making little baby sounds. He thinks that the higher-ups want to make a move on the Ling family, but our little guy does not care at all. He jumps toward his mom, ready for more milk. She yells at him, telling him to eat more slowly as she holds him tight. The old man ignores the scene and asks his son's wife for her take on the letter's stuff. She wonders why the higher-ups are suddenly interested in the Ling family, especially since they are already going down. The family head just smiles, saying they made a mistake, and now their businesses are ready for the taking. He then orders that the Ling family's marriage plan party is not to return. We see our young man giving his bottle to his red-headed sister. Just then his other sister runs into the room, calling out for both of them. Surprised, the bottle goes flying, splashing milk all over the red-haired sister. He quickly shoves the bottle into his other sister's mouth. He then asks why she is so worked up and tells her to drink some milk to get better. The sister drinks with a happy look on her face. She then hands the bottle back to her brother, saying she saw Sanson. The main guy is shocked and asks where she is. The sister says that she is at the Ling family's marriage plan party. Then in a fast memory, the older sister, who is serving at the event, sees that the Ling family has just come. She sees their carriage pulling up and one of the girls gets ready to serve. Young Sanson is inside the carriage wearing a maid's dress. The main guy is stunned when he hears the Ling family's name. Seeing their brother's reaction, the two girls ask him what is wrong. Our hero angrily says that the Liu family is going to crush the Ling family. He frantically yells at them to find a way to get Sanson out of there. He tries to make a run for it, but his mother suddenly shows up and blocks his path. With a hard face, his mother asks where he thinks he is off to again. His mom picks him up, saying he cannot run off because his grandpa ordered him to be brought to the meeting. With that, she carries him away while his sisters watch, very worried. The redhead asks what they should do, and the white-haired sister says they need to come up with a plan first. At that moment, another maid shows up and calls for the two of them to help the butler with the getting ready. The two young women agree, even though they are still on edge. In the hall, the grandfather thanks the families and says that only 3 young ladies are a match with his grandson. The 3 family reps bow, honored by the chance for union. The old man says that skill is key and the winner of a special test will marry the boy. Our hero is confused, having no clue what this skill test is all about. We then see the 3 families picked for the test. Nang, Gong, and the Ling family. The grandfather grumbles that the Ling family sent a side wife's daughter to the event. With anger in his eyes, he thinks that he only allowed it to pull their attention. The main guy gets nervous, thinking he can only count on his 2 sisters now. He then buries his face into his mother, which really gets on her nerves. She yells at him, but our young man just thinks he is drinking some milk to calm down. The grandfather laughs, telling her to let him drink more since his growth is not normal. He adds that when the main guy grows up and gets tested in the capital, she will get all the credit. Tired out, the mother complains that he is a little bottomless troublemaker who only knows how to drink. Somewhere else, the butler goes into a room where the head of the family is sitting alone. The servant then tells him that the Ling girl will die in the test and their whole party will be gone. With a happy look, the family leader says the plan is simply great. Hearing the bad plan, our hero goes into a full panic, thinking about his sister, Sanson. White-haired sister is rushing through the big house's hall with a tray of fruit. Red-haired sister is also hurrying, complaining that she is too busy and has no way to slip away. And so the 2 sisters rush through the hall doing their jobs. They then look at each other very worried, wondering what they are going to do now. The scene then changes to the Liu family's private fight area, which looks like a huge coliseum. The grandfather, the mother holding our young man, and the butler are all seated in a private box watching everything. The butler then says that the test is about to start and calls for the young lady from the Nangong family. From their seats, they watch as the first fighter goes into the huge arena. We see the young lady from the Nangong family in her gothic dress at the arena's entrance. The main guy grandfather praises the fighter, saying she is beautiful and good in combat. However, our hero's mother does not seem impressed by the girl's look at all. The old man says that not every rich girl grows up to be a prize like her. She agrees, adding that a daughter-in-law should be someone who can share their problems in the future. The butler then calls for the second young lady from the Ye family to show herself in the arena. At that moment, a hand shoots up and a voice eagerly answers the call. Right after, a blonde girl in a Lolita dress runs excited to the center of the arena. She then gets close to the other fighter with a big smile on her face. She bows to the family and formally says her name is Yuangyu. Seeing this, the main guy mother says that the young lady certainly knows how to act the part to win favor. The butler then says the third daughter from the Ling family named Ling Piai, a girl with short hair and simple clothes, starts to walk toward the arena. She calmly goes into the area looking very different from the other 2 fighters. With that, the 3 fighters are finally gathered in the big combat arena. Our hero's grandfather and mother watch the 3 girls with serious faces. Our hero wonders if this is the person Sanson was with and how she ended up here in the arena. The 3 young women face each other ready to start the skill test. The short-haired girl then gets the other 2's attention with a simple E in return. The blonde girl points at her angrily, asking if that is any way for a rich lady to act. Hanging upside down, our main guy seems pretty stressed about this whole weird mess. Then we see the short-haired girl holding him by the foot like it is no big deal. With a smile, she calls him hubby and says she will be under his care from now on. Our guy flips out and yells at her to put him down right now. At that moment, his 3 sisters show up, screaming for the girl to let go of our main guy. The 3 sisters point at the girl, their faces filled with pure anger. The youngest sister then cheerfully calls out her brother's name along with the other 2. Seeing all this, our main guy wonders how things got so messed up. Flashing back a few hours, we see the Liu family arena where the skill test was taking place. There, the purple-haired girl faces a demon boar that is running at her full speed. The young woman then gets her sword ready, which starts to glow. She holds the handle of the weapon tight, getting ready to hit the beast in front of her. With one cut, the girl easily cuts the monster clean in 2. After the fight, she stands in the arena with the remains of the creature behind her. The grandfather then says that she is pretty good, especially since she has not had a god waking and is just using the family sword. Our guy thinks about the girl's strength and how she is fighting over a set-up marriage. With that, the second round starts and the rep from the Ye family goes into the arena. The blonde girl now faces a demon boar that is even more scary than the last one. With a wicked smile and glowing eyes, she tells the beast to go to a better place. Her power directly hits the creature's brain with a strange pink energy. The beast gets mixed up by the hit and starts running in circles around the arena. Changed by the power, the animal runs wild away from the blonde fighter. It ends up slamming full force into the arena wall with huge power. The hit is so mean that the creature is taken out right away. The beast's body then lies dead on the arena floor. Our hero and his sisters watch the whole thing, totally blown away by the girl's power. The fighter then waves to the crowd and says that she has cleared the test. The main guy's mom then asks the butler what that strange power was. He explains that it is her family's god waking, a type of mind messing. This worries the woman, who thinks the girl will control the whole family in the future. The grandfather says it is no problem as long as a god waking is of a higher level. Our hero thinks about how his mom's milk boosts his power and wonders about the secrets these rich families are hiding. Soon after, the next person from the Ling family is said and goes into the arena. The purple-haired girl watches the new fighter go into the arena with a serious face. The blonde girl laughs at her enemy, saying the Ling family must have been looking at the very bottom. The huge monster gets ready to hit the girl while the family watches from their fancy box. Our guy's mom gets scared, knowing the plan was for the beast to take out the fighter. The grandfather explains that to get rid of a target, you have to make the fight look like an accident. With that, he points to the arena, telling his son's wife to just watch what happens. The beast runs full speed in the girl's direction, but she stays completely still. Then, with a smug smile, the fighter wonders if that is all the beast has got. The monster jumps to hit, but she makes a blue safe magic to block the hit, stopping the beast's hit with just one finger. At that moment, she uses her power and lands a punch with a blue light right on the monster. The girl stares down the beast with a look full of will. The creature then roars in pain as a fire energy starts pouring out of its body. The animal is completely covered in flames as the fighter backs away. The grandfather and the butler are shocked by the scene they just saw in the arena. The beast starts to glow and changes into a C-ranked mutant boar king. The grandfather seems to get the mess while the rest of the family just watches. The blonde fighter laughs, happy that with the monster's change she has one less rival. But the purple-haired girl looks thoughtful, watching everything with a very serious face. Seeing the mess, our main guy and his sisters are in a total panic. Our hero thinks that to avoid being found, he will have to use his secret move. With that, he starts feeding from his mother, who complains about his terrible timing. Right after, he spits out all the milk he had just drunk. Furious, his mom pushes him away and yells at him for spitting all over her again. The liquid flies across the arena and gets the attention of the monster down below. The creature then smells the special stuff and right away becomes interested in it, that the giant boar rushes toward the woman surrounded by a pink energy. His mom is completely shocked with no clue what is happening again. She gets ready to throw the main guy, and the two sisters get ready to fight the coming beast. But the Ling girl says to leave it to her as a strange power forms in her hand. Using her power, she calls several thorns that shoot out of the ground at high speed. The thorns then wrap around the boar's body, completely stopping it from moving. The grandfather and the butler watch it all with surprised faces. The mom is also stunned and wonders what kind of wood-based god waking that is. The grandfather says that it is interesting but still not as good as his grandson's, though he says the girl's power is okay. The young fighter then looks at her hand now covered in red thorns and wonders what this power is called. The purple-haired girl also seems surprised to see her enemy's skill. As for the blonde fighter, she is disgusted and says there is no way she would want to be wrapped up in that. The grandfather explains that this skill can take down higher-ranked creatures by taking their special stuff. The power takes all the life from the boar, turning it into a skeleton. The butler asks what to do with her, but the head of the family says he has a better idea. He then looks at his grandson, who is in his mother's arms with his two sisters. His plan is to make the girl his grandson's future wife to get his hands on the Ling family's things. Her little sister screams for her to let our hero go. The hero's sister asks the youngest how she ended up with the huntress. Sanson looks like she's about to cry and cannot answer. Because of this, the redhead starts to lecture the little one for disappearing. The little one feels the light taps she got from her older sister. Our main guy then cuts them off, saying that now is not the time, that the redhead's Ling family is about to be totally wiped out. The huntress replies with a smile, saying she already knew that. Our boy and his sisters are stunned. The girl from the Tang family says she does not have much time and needs to tell them something important. They all listen closely. She asks if they have already woken their systems. The main guy and his sisters are frozen by the question, but they all nod their heads, saying yes. She explains that they must have gotten strange powers and skills. His future wife smiles and asks if they really believe in miracles. In a cute way, they all shake their heads no. The future wife hugs little Sanson and says that every miracle comes with a terrible price. The three siblings are in shock. Little Sanson snuggles into the huntress's lap. Our main character then asks what she means. The young woman shows that the little girl lost her dear brother and sisters and was left all alone. In a flash, little Sanson sees her sisters being taken away. All alone, she finds that her god waking was the power to steal skill. With this, she could steal the god waking and skills of other people. And so in this crazy world, she became a bad guy feared by everyone. But in the end, she found a way to go back to the past, giving up all her power, just to return and save the people she loved most. Main guy is shocked and asks if little Sanson was really reborn. The small girl just nods shyly. The huntress laughs and says the little girl is a mean demon. Sanson, in her past life as a strong bad guy, was feared by all. The young wife says that the system screen is a mind picture from Sanson. The three siblings look at their system screens trying to get it. She keeps explaining that every time they use the system, it takes Sanson's power. As she says this, a seated little Sanson lets out a light. The god-waking skills given to them are the result of her looking. In her past life, she went through near-death god turn-ons to get this. Our hero then asks about his god waking and how she got it. The young woman explains that Sanson gave up her power to save him from danger. To do that, she got into the capital's inner circle and beat the head of the Mu family. She had to fight and go through many hard times to get that power. With this news, they all run over to Sanson. They all pull little Sanson into a group hug. All huddled together, they get emotional in a beautiful, sweet scene. Little Sanson cries with happiness to be with her brother and sisters again. We see a shy-looking bar as a strange tune plays. Inside the joint, there is a blonde girl pole dancing. Just then, a blonde guy shows up and tries to hit on her. The girl with 2 different eye colors thanks the guy, calling him Oni. Suddenly, the woman swings her leg up near the blonde guy's face. Without a second thought, the guy smells her foot, thinking it is amazing. Right after, a green-haired guy comes over and asks if Blondie has lost his mind. He then gets serious and knows something is wrong with him. At that moment, the guy starts to feel dizzy. The duo then shows their real plans with an evil smile. The blonde guy begs them not to do anything to him. In a basement, we see Blondie tied up while the woman from before hurts him, then strikes a scary pose and smiles at the tied-up guy. A mystery butler shows up and says he would better spill everything without hiding any details. The butler puts on a scary face. The blonde guy pleads for his life and explains that his job was to stop a wave of beasts. The old man tells him to keep talking. The guy says that after beating the beasts, he got some money. The old man gets furious and says he should not have messed with his son. Scared, the blonde guy says it was not him, that it was 3 masked people. The old man gets curious and asks who they were, where they came from, and what their names were. The guy says he does not know because he was far away and only saw 2 girls and a child. The old man is shocked to hear it was 2 girls and a child. He then asks what team the guy is on and who his boss is. The old man in the suit is startled to hear he is part of the red pomegranate team. With this news, he remembers a portal with very powerful creatures. The man then turns and tells the woman from before to take care of the guy. The prisoner screams in fear, saying he broke his promise to let him go. Without care, the blonde guy gets hit in the face with a platform shoe. The woman then keeps her foot on his face. The old man says he promised not to hurt him, but he needed to make an example out of him. He turns and leaves the basement. In a flash, he shows up on top of a building in the middle of the night. The man walks across the rooftop. He looks down, seeing some cracks on the ground. The old man bends down and starts looking at the cracks. He runs his hand over the spot. Suddenly, the ground starts to glow with a strange energy. He goes to another part of the building to check it out. After looking at it, he comes to an end. We see a fast memory of him holding the main guy's little sister while she was hurt. He then thinks that this is important, and he needs to say his idea is right. The scene takes us back to the bar with a neon sign. Inside, a blonde woman is putting on a pretty dance for the customers. A green-haired guy walks into a room and talks to our hero's butler, calling him Lord. The butler, who is drinking something warm, asks if the young man has found any new news. With that, the man shows a photo and says it was pretty tough following his target. He shows the target was some D-rank nobody who lived with 3 sisters and died 6 months ago. In a close-up, we see the photo of our hero in his old life, looking happy with the 3 girls. The Lord looks at the picture and says that all of it happened half a year ago. He then remembers that this was around the time the main guy's mom and dad went to hunt the Liu family's beast. We then see several pictures from the job that ended in our hero's fall and the coming of a monster. The butler then remembers the 2 girls who protected our young man and the treasure he managed to get. Back now, the green-haired guy gets a brightly glowing blue ball of energy. He gives the thing to his boss and thanks him for the prize he got. The butler then takes his leave and with a serious look promises to pay back his son. After that, the scene cuts to a baby bottle full of milk on a table. In the room, one of the sisters asks, "What is wrong with our young man who is sitting there staring at the baby bottle?" The sister looks at him with a very close look. The main guy wonders why normal people only reach the top of B rank while rich people can go beyond. His sister kneels down and explains that the human limit really is B rank and that the system was made by the rich houses. She then shows that the goal was to make the idea that they are better and are meant to rule over everyone else. The 2 are shocked by the news, and she says she found this out in her past life. In a fast memory, we see that the little girl was a strong bad guy, and that the families in the capital know the secret to reaching S rank. She keeps explaining that the 8 great clans that control everything are hiding secrets to an even greater chain. Our hero is surprised and asks what exists beyond S rank. The girl angrily says she does not know, and that they used the people who woke powers like human power plants to feed their own power. She then says she wanted to wreck the world but found a way to save her brother and came back with the huntress. The main guy takes her hands and promises that he will never leave her alone again. With that, his sister says that she and the others will fight by his side. She smiles with tears in her eyes as our hero comforts her. But suddenly, our hero's future wife kicks the door open and says their cute little moment is about to be cut off by a major problem. Our boy and his sister are startled by the cut and wonder what happened. The future wife explains that the old butler from the Liu family just brought someone over. Hearing this news, the 2 siblings look at each other very worried. She then shows with a smirk that the butler guy who says he is the main guy's mom's childhood friend. Our young man then asks what that news has to do with a problem. His future wife says that the butler bringing a friend of Lady Lao is something very fishy. Somewhere else, we see the future wife being taught by a maid who says she must learn proper manners. The stern-looking worker tells her they will start her training with how to stand, but the future wife seems pretty bored and says without much energy that she gets it. The maid then yells at her for putting her hands in her pockets since that is against the house rules. Annoyed, she asks who the heck the worker thinks she is to touch her like that. The maid brags that she is a friend of Lady Lou's while in the back, guards are dragging a young man away. In a close-up, we see the silver-haired man screaming in anger as he's being hauled off by security. The maid says things like this are normal and that nothing is more important than the marriage plan. Tired of it all, the future wife just sighs and says that she got the message. With that, the future wife quietly flicks a small red thing from her hand. The thing then flies at high speed toward the man being dragged away. The item sticks to the collar of his shirt. Right away after, a small white flower grows from the thing, becoming a listening device. The future wife smiles as an identical flower shows up on her ear for her to listen in. Through the flower, she hears the man cursing out the butler and demanding to know who sent him. After her spying time, the future wife returns to the room and faces the two siblings. Our hero smiles and asks if the phantom blood vine can also be used for spying. With a smile, she says that she and Sanson were a famous killer duo. The main guy's sister then asks what news she managed to get. She then asks if the guy is his mom's lover and if she had a lot of affairs. Our boy has a very surprised face upon hearing the question. He then says yes, remembering that he saw her with her lover, even when he was just a baby in the belly. The young man remembers that after that she would always take him out just to meet up with the guy. We see his mother walking with our hero in her arms, looking around carefully. In his memory, he sees his mother being pulled into a fitting room by this man. The man hugs her and she complains that the kid will not stop eating and is just so much work. Right after that, the two start to get very close. Meanwhile, our hero, who is in her arms, has a very awkward look on his face. The scene gets even hotter and our boy can only sweat bullets from the awkwardness. Back now, his future wife says this is normal and that his dad has lovers too. The main guy then wonders why the butler would lock the guy up if this is so common. Faced with this question, his sister also becomes very thoughtful about the whole mess. She then looks at our young man's future wife, hoping for an answer to the mystery. The sister says that maybe the Liu family thinks he is not their real son. His future wife agrees and says it is very likely as there would be no other reason to bring him in. With this news, our hero crosses his arms with a really annoyed look on his face. But a moment later, he breaks into a very confident smirk for the girls. He then tells his sister not to worry because he has her rebirth skill. His sister stares at him, surprised, her face getting red at his confidence. The sister then smiles and nods, agreeing with his thought. But at that moment, the bedroom door suddenly flies open, cutting off the trio's talk. That someone lets out a super loud scream as the three of them look at the door in surprise. Suddenly, the door bursts open and one of the sisters runs in saying, Master L sent for him. Our hero's future wife smirks and says they finally came to handle the mess. Confused, the white-haired sister asks who has come and what the other girl is talking about. At that, the future wife gets closer and whispers something in our main guy's sister's ear, leaving her totally shocked. The sister then gets worried and asks if someone is trying to hurt her brother. The main guy then explains that the guy spread talk about having an affair with his mom. His future wife says that the Liu family treated the butler's brother like an adopted son, and they care a lot about their name. But Sister Ye is still very worried, saying that these high society families are tricky. The future wife comforts her, saying that they are there and the little master is not alone. Our little hero tells everyone to calm down, explaining that if they do not go, the mess will get much worse. He then asks his sister to take him there, saying they will just play it by ear. She picks him up and leaves the room while the other two watch. She then takes him to a room and says he is here to her grandfather, who is sitting in an armchair. The head of the family just waves his hand and sends the young maid from the room. The grandfather then takes his grandson onto his lap, and our young man smiles at him while his sister watches from far away. The white-haired sister lowers her head looking very worried about what is going to happen, but on his grandfather's lap, our little hero shakes his head as if to tell her not to worry. Getting the message, the sister bows with respect. Right after she turns and leaves the room, leaving our hero alone with the other two. Just then, our main guy's father bursts in shouting, asking why the old man called him like that. The grandfather stands up and complains that his son does nothing but play around and cannot even manage his own house. His father defends himself, saying he was just doing the friend-making the old man was always asking for. In another room, our main guy's mom's lover is getting a serious beating from someone missed. Soon, the grandfather gets to a basement with his son, and the little main guy where the butler waits for them. As they get closer, they see the mom's lover all tied up and hurt. The head of the family then asks the butler to hold the baby, who is smiling at the whole mess. The older man then hands the grandson to the worker, who gets him with a smile. In the butler's arms, our young man gives him a suspicious look while the old man gives a mean smile. The grandfather then asks if the prisoner has said anything, but the butler says no. Our main guy's father then leans in and asks with hate what the guy had been bragging about. The grandfather then shows that the guy was bragging about having an affair with his son's wife right under his nose. Furious, the main guy's father yells that he's going to deal with that woman because his name with his friends is on the line. But the grandfather cuts him off, saying they worked too hard to get that set up marriage. Still, the man tries to jump forward, but the head of the family stops him from doing something dumb. With that, the grandfather orders a DNA test between the prisoner and his grandson to clear this up once and for all. The butler then picks up the little master, who smiles because everything is going as planned. He then places the boy on a table and tells him not to be afraid, as it will all be over soon. With a small tool, the butler pokes our young man's finger to take a blood sample. He then turns to the prisoner and says that since they are not related, he could act without holding back. The butler shows that his son's death will be paid for with the lives of his brother and sisters, and our main guy is shocked. The old man's face gets dark, his eyes turn red, and the little one finally gets it was him. Our hero panics at the news, breaking out in a cold sweat as he knows the terrible truth. The butler then turns with a cold, smart look to keep going with his plan. Our young hero wonders why the butler is so sure when the test is not going to work. Just then, the machine starts beeping, and the old man says with a smile that the results are finally in. Our main guy, sweating bullets, nervously waits for the result of the DNA test. The main guy's father asks what the result was while the butler reads the paper. Meanwhile, the grandfather watches everything with a serious face, and the boy gets tense. With a smile, the butler says good job to the master and says the test result is no. Scared, the prisoner yells that it was not him and pleads for his life, begging them to let him go. As for our young man's father, he just scoffs, not really caring about the prisoner's mess. The butler then asks what to do with him so as not to hurt the family's name. The head of the family stares at the prisoner with a cold look, but the boy's father points and says that now he wants to test his own son just to be sure. Our hero then panics, not knowing what to do in this mess. The butler then gets close and takes a blood sample from the boy's father. Right after, he gets close to the little master with the blood sample in his hand. Our hero starts crying, pretending to be scared of the needle. This gets the butler mixed up, and a drop of sweat runs down his face. The grandfather then holds his grandson's hand and tells him to take the small bottle of blood. On his grandfather's lap, the little hero squeezes his hand and wonders what he can do now. In his thoughts, his future wife tells him to stay calm so he does not give himself away. With that, he decides to take the chance and opens his hand for the butler to take his blood. The butler then takes the blood from our main guy who is in his grandfather's arms. The old man places both samples in the machine to start the test. The machine then beeps and starts to print out the DNA test result. Nervous, the main guy's father asks the butler for the result. The butler looks at the paper with a shocked face and starts to shake. Stumbling over his words, he asks how this could be possible, not believing what he is seeing. Our little hero sees right through the act and calls him a cold fox in his thoughts. The butler then quickly hands the result to the boy's father. The man takes the paper and stares at it closely to see what it says. His eyes glow green and he becomes totally shocked and furious. He then yells that he's going to get rid of the boy and the woman and jumps forward. Grandfather stops him with a shout, stopping the hit. With that, the grandfather lands a strong slap right across our hero's father's face. The man is shocked and asks why the old man hit him like that. Meanwhile, the butler watches the whole scene with a look of shock. The head of the family calls him a fool and says he already knew about all his affairs. Our hero's father then defends himself, saying it was just friend-making, and I got to stop the story here. I cannot believe he actually used that excuse. Anyway, back to the story. With a dark look, the grandfather says that nothing that brings shame to the family should ever be done. Our young man's father then asks if they should just pretend they do not know and waste their stuff on the boy. The grandfather then says the boy has used a lot of stuff, and it is time for a change job. The main guy's father asks what the old man means by that. The grandfather explains that if he lives, he could become a great thing for the family, and he adds that either way, it is time for him and his wife to try for another child. Furious, our hero's dad screams that he hates that woman and is going to take her down. But Grandpa lands a solid slap right across his face. He is stunned and asks why the old man slapped him again, holding his grandson. The head of the family calls him an idiot and brings up the friend groups. He says his son's wife needs to have several kids to carry on the Liu family bloodline. The kid's dad, looking scared, agrees. Meanwhile, the baby pretends to be asleep in his grandpa's arms, tricking them all. The butler looks like he is planning something with a stone-cold, serious face. The tied-up prisoner looks scared and asks if he can leave now. Grandpa orders them to make him disappear, and the butler says he will do it. The scared man pleads for his life as the group walks away. Our hero knows he needs to use his cuteness to make his enemies lower their guard. With that, Grandpa starts lifting our little guy, who looks like he is having a blast. Right then, his furious father shows up, complaining about all the stuff being spent. Grandpa tells him to shut it and go back to his room with his wife. The kid's dad agrees with the old man's order, looking seriously ticked off. Looking at our hero, Grandpa thinks the boy's whole future depends on his work. A little later, the white-haired sister takes the little guy back to his room. When he gets there, the other girls are waiting and ask what went down. Our hero then shows that the butler was the mastermind behind the whole plan. They are totally stunned and ask why he would do such a thing. He explains that the butler found out about his own son and set a trap. The redhead sister starts panicking, jumping up and saying they need to pack their things and get out of there. But our hero's future wife grabs her and tells her to chill out, saying they would not get far anyway. So the red clenches her fists and says that if they cannot run, they will fight. The other two right away grab her, telling her not to be so wild. His future wife then asks our hero how the three sisters can be so different from each other. Our hero just smiles at her question, staying quiet for a moment. He says Ye always looked after the others, which is why she is the most grown-up one, and that in turn made a bit more innocent and trusting. He says Sanson was always following behind them like a little echo. His future wife says they are perfect together, and that making a family was a true gift. Staring off into space, she keeps saying that she never got Sanson's decision before, but now it seems our hero is finally starting to get what happened. She then says with a smile that she is really jealous of their bond. The little guy gets super happy and smiles at his future wife's comment. He then gets serious and asks what they are going to do now since they are safe for the time being. Clapping her hands, his future wife calls everyone for a family meeting. At this, the three sisters who were playing on the floor look up at her, confused. Shuang asks since when they became a family and starts complaining to Shan. The future wife points out she is basically their sister-in-law and asks little Sanson if she agrees. At this, the three sisters get super annoyed by her nerve. A moment later, our hero is caught off guard as his angry sisters pull him away. They tell him he does not need a sister-in-law and that they all promise to stick together forever. Little Sanson gets super flustered by the whole mess and does not know what to say. Furious, our hero yells at his sisters, telling them to stop fighting right now. He then orders all three of them to sit down and they right away obey. After the yelling, the two sisters sit there with their cheeks puffed out in anger. Seeing the whole scene play out, his future wife cannot help herself and just burst out laughing. Our main guy then asks if it has been so long since he taught them that they have gotten this wild. His future wife gently pats his head and says it seems he does not really get them. He shoots back that he raised them since they were little, so of course he knows them inside and out. Winking at him, his future wife says that what he really does not get is women. At this, the three sisters get a totally sad look on their faces. Annoyed, he tells her not to treat him like a kid because he is actually way older. Everyone sits down on the floor to finally get the family meeting started. His future wife explains that the secret to change is controlled by the rich clans. Our hero and his sisters listen closely to her explanation. She says that families like theirs are just tools, and that the first stage of change comes from a special fruit. This fruit supposedly grows in other worlds and is guarded by super strong monsters. His future wife explains that this fruit even has dragons protecting it. Hearing this, Shuang gets mad, saying that is basically sending their brother to get himself killed. But the main guy's future wife says that since they are from the future, they are ready for it. She says that if they play to each other's strengths, they can live, and everyone agrees. Later that night at the family big house, our hero's dad shows up, looking seriously annoyed. He is drinking hard as he walks alone through the halls of the huge place. He stumbles toward his wife's bedroom door. Without a second thought, he kicks the door in and barges into the room. The kid's mom is in a pool with one of her maids. Furious, the woman orders her husband to get out, telling him he smells of drink. The husband then jumps forward and tries to kick her, but the maid jumps in the way, managing to block the hit with her leg. The force of the hit knocks the maid into the pool water. Our hero's mom screams at her husband, asking what the heck he thinks he is doing. He then grabs her hard, calling her a little troublemaker, right to her face. Remembering his grandfather's dark face, he recalls the words, "Nothing should be done to bring shame upon the family." He remembers his grandfather telling him that no matter what, it was time for him to have another child with his wife. The husband pulls her clothes and says it has been a while since she has taken care of. He forcefully grabs the towel wrapped around his wife. He then yanks the cloth away, leaving her completely open in the pool. Furious, the woman screams at her husband, asking what he is doing. Tearing off his shirt, he says they are going to make more babies for the good of both their families. The two of them start to get busy in the pool. Her feet curl in the water as the two keep their private moment. The red-haired girl says the test is dangerous, so they need to be seriously ready for what is coming. Hearing this, our hero says they will split up and he will go get the amazing milk that will work as a healing potion. Meanwhile, the black-haired maid explains that she will head out and buy some gear for their coming job. Our boy then asks his sisters to keep an eye on the big house's butler. The two maids agree to the plan, saying they will keep tabs on the guy so he does not get in their way. Yen gets ready for his part of the plan, tying a milk storage bottle to his body. He then walks up to his mother's bedroom door and starts making some baby noises to get her attention. From inside, his dad yells at the woman, complaining that she fights the baby for milk every single day. Our main guy finds it super weird that his dad still follows the old man's orders after everything that has happened. But the boy with 6 fingers decides there is no time to waste, so he needs to grab some milk right now. Using his electric powers, he goes through the door at an incredible speed, like a yellow lightning bolt. Iken then dives right for his mom. His mom is totally surprised and asks what the heck they are both doing since she has sprung a leak. Shuan, the father, glares furiously while our boy's face is covered in the milk he just grabbed. In a fast memory, the grandfather yells at his son for wasting the family's stuff on nothing but parties. The boy's father looks pretty ticked off. After the yelling he got from his grandfather about his parties and spending, even though he is mad, he leans in and starts drinking the breast milk too. At this, their mother screams that they are both nuts and that their fighting is driving her completely crazy. Meanwhile, the girls are walking through town to buy gear for the job. When they get to a shop, a huge guy tells them to get lost, saying it is no place for brats. The black-haired maid agrees with her friend, adding that guys like him always look down on others. The shopkeeper gets furious at their comment and raises his fist, ready to swing at the two girls without a second thought. But before he can do anything, a bag of coins flies out of nowhere and hits the big guy right in the face. The hit from the bag makes his nose start bleeding, and he gets super ticked off. The man then looks down at the counter and sees the bag with several shiny gold coins scattered all over it. Seeing the money, his attitude does a complete 180, and he awkwardly says sorry for the whole mess he caused. The girl smiles confidently and tells him to bring out the good stuff because they do not want any of the junk in his shop. Back at the big house, the maids pretend to clean the floor while keeping an eye on the butler walking down the hall. They follow the man from far away watching. The two then get closer and stand in front of the closed door, unsure of what to do next. Carefully, they both press their ears against the door to listen to what is happening on the other side. Inside, the grandfather is in the middle of a magic circle, opening a huge fiery portal with his energy. The grandfather says that his grandson's gift is amazing and that he must go through a test to beat his limits. Ye then knows they want to get rid of everyone else to make way for the family's new heir. With a confident smile, the red-haired girl says she will take great care of our boy during this trip. With that, the group of kids walks toward the big red portal to start the dangerous test. From far away, the grandfather and the butler watch them. At that moment, the butler flashes a mean dark smile, showing he has a secret plan of his own behind all this. The group gets to a new world with an amazing land full of glowing plants and a lake at the top of a mountain. The girls are amazed by the beauty of the place, and the red-haired maid says the other world is pretty. But our boy warns everyone to stay focused because no place around here is safe. Shan then asks where the change fruit is, and he says they need to find the beast that guards it. He then thanks Sanson for talking with everyone. At that, Yi lifts her dress, getting ready to start the plan they came up with. She shows several bottles full of milk tied to her leg, almost like a tool belt. Then she throws one of the bottles onto the ground. The group quickly scatters and everyone starts running to their set spots. Our boy and the other girl hide behind some huge rocks near the large lake. On the other side, the two maids also hide behind a rock, waiting for the plan to work. The milk from the broken bottle spreads across the ground, working as food. Just then, our hero gets a message from the red-haired girl warning, "We have got movement." Right away after, ripples and bubbles start showing up on the surface of the lake's water. The plan worked perfectly, and the fruit's guard creature is finally coming toward them. A giant purple snake comes out of the water with scales like armor and glowing blue eyes. The creature stares at the spilled milk on the shore. With that, the huge snake starts to swim calmly toward the food the group left for it. Our hero is startled when he sees a message saying the beast is a rank of poisonous snake. But the red-haired girl says that is just a rank A and they can take it since they have already beaten a rank B. Our boy calls her an idiot and explains that the power gap is huge and they do not stand a chance. At this, the other girl is surprised that Yen can know such a rare creature. He then explains that his gift was low, so he studied like crazy to live and be able to see his sisters again. In a fast memory, we see him fighting and studying hard to be able to take care of his 3 younger sisters. Hearing this, the girls get very emotional about his story and send a bunch of crying emojis. He then sends a message telling him to look at what is on the giant snake's body. The older girl notices it too and gets annoyed that of all the places for it to grow, it had to be on that creature. Our main guy is shocked by the mess and wonders how this could have possibly happened. The huge snake is now floating still in the lake, and right on the beast's head is the change fruit, glowing like a small golden sun. The older girl says their plan to pull the beast and sneakily grab the fruit is toast since it is on the creature's head. At that, the maid suggests using a skill to drain the snake's life force bit by bit until they beat it. But he explains that the creature is too strong and fast, so his power can barely even hold it. Our hero tells everyone to be quiet as the snake roars at the milk spilled on the sand. Suddenly, the creature jumps forward and slams its head hard onto the ground where the bottle was. It then lifts its head and swallows the bottle along with a piece of the ground. With a confident smile, Yi Chen says that he has got an idea and that everyone needs to listen. He then records a voice message explaining his new plan to the group. Everyone gets the audio and says they get the plan he came up with. The older girl then asks how our hero earned the girl's trust so easily. Our main guy says he got lucky because they saved him from fear and gave him a reason to live. With a set look, he says he failed to protect them in the past, so now he will risk his life for them. She is touched by his words and says, "It is an honor to have met all of them in this life," just gives a gentle smile. With that, Yi Chen stands up with great will and yells to everyone that it is time to move. The girls then shout back together that they got it. With that, our hero and his future wife start running to get the snake's attention. The 2 sister maids run in another direction as part of the mess-up plan. Little Sanson also takes part in the plan, running by herself to a safe spot. And then we see the creature. It is looking at the land with the fruit of change glowing on its head. A moment later, the monster turns and stares at the spilled milk left on the sand as food. The smell of the special stuff grabs the creature's attention and it tries to fight it, but it takes a closer look at food the group left for it on the ground. Suddenly, the snake runs full steam ahead toward the lake's edge, and it hits the spot at high speed. Right after, the creature lifts its head and swallows the milk along with the stone. The monster then turns and notices there is more milk spilled in some bushes. Taking the chance, our hero and his future wife run with more baby bottles in hand. Then a message screen pops up and the sisters praise their younger brother's plan. The other two maids also run with more bottles to keep the job going. The creature hits again, and the red-headed sister complains in a message about what a waste of milk this is. Then the main guy's future wife sends a message telling everyone to look at the monster's belly. At this, the red-headed maid looks at the giant snake. She gets a weird feeling about the mess and says that it all seems a little too easy to be true. That is when they notice the monster's belly is huge from all the milk and junk it swallowed. Our hero explains that the first thing is to live and then find a chance. The creature starts thrashing in the water while our main guy says that if it were not for plans like this, he would have been dead hundreds of times over. His future wife tells the group to focus up since the monster is getting slower. With the sign, the three maids get ready for the next part of the plan. Suddenly, something starts coming out of the main guy's shadow. From it comes a man in a suit who tries to hit the main guy from behind. The main guy's future wife tries to warn him and uses her skill to pull him back. Just as the shadow is about to hit him, the main guy gets yanked away. Our hero knows the butler and asks how he got there. His future wife then knows a special god waking and asks if he turned it on when they left. In a fast memory, the grandfather explains that his grandson is gifted and needs to go through this test. The scene shows the group leaving while the butler was going into the shadows, showing himself as a shadow copy. He says he is there to pay back his son, and that if it were not for him, the group might have actually lived through this. Hearing this, they do not wait and yell to finish. He then uses his lightning power joined with the girl's vine of thorns. With that, a super strong lightning spear flies toward the butler's copy, but the hit goes right through the butler. Then he starts to fade into the shadows. The two of them are in shock, not getting what just happened. The copy then moves toward them through the shadows, but the main guy finally grabs him and jumps away. Out of nowhere, a huge blast goes off, warning the maids who were far away. With the blast, the maids send crazy messages, worried about their brother and his find. All that noise gets the snake's attention. It looks over to where the blast came from and finds the main guy and his future wife. At that moment, the butler's copy shows up again and says they will pay for what happened to his son and goes away into thin air again. This makes the snake even more furious, so it heads toward them to hit, and so they start to run for it. And it is a close call because the snake almost gets them. The two know the beast's speed is crazy, but they also see that their plan worked and it is slower now. Out of the blue, a message tells them to split up. As they run, the snake shoots poison in their direction. The two of them do a high five to push themselves apart. The snake hits. The purple poison hits the ground and starts to eat away at everything around it. With this, the snake makes a ditch of poison on the ground, separating the two. At this moment, our hero starts to panic and asks his future wife what they are going to do. With no time to think, the creature shows up, ready to eat the boy. He thinks it is the end of the line when he sees the monster's mouth. Future wife is also so filled with fear. But out of nowhere, one of the sisters throws a flash bomb and yells for her brother to close his eyes. He obeys his sister's command. This was a top-quality flash bomb made from a bright bird crystal. The bomb explodes and a super bright light blinds everyone close by. The light is so strong that even his future wife complains about how bright it is, and the snake is also blinded, roaring in pain and confusion from the flash. Taking the chance, one of the sisters runs to grab the main guy. She scoops the little guy up in her arms and they make a run for it, but the giant creature keeps on roaring. The main guy's future wife covers her ears tight because of the creature's very loud roar. The white-haired sister is also fighting with the noise, but shields the boy. Our hero feels the monster's strong sound waves, but then someone suddenly sends a voice message telling everyone to hit the snake's swollen stomach. Now using the mess, our boy gives an order to focus the hit right on the snake's belly. He and Yi then join their forces to launch a full-powered double thunder spear hit. The electric spear scores a direct hit on the monster's weak spot, dealing huge damage to the creature. Shuang uses a strong rank weapon, letting out its full hit power. She fires off a strong blast right after Sanson her god bout. She then shoots a strong volley of sharp arrows that fly at high speed toward the snake. The other girl also uses her special skill against the creature. Luckily, the girl's joined hits hit the monster in a huge blast. The force of the hit is so great that it echoes throughout the whole forest. A few moments later, our main guy and the girls are panting and tired out. They are all completely wiped. Before them lies the giant snake, finally beaten on the ground with a huge hole in its belly. Shuang and Yi are surprised, talking about how easy it was to beat such a high-level beast. Pai Piao then explains they only won because they used costly high-rank gear in the fight. Sanson looks suspicious, keeping a close eye on the fallen monster on the ground. Our hero then warns them, let their guard down because ranked beasts are incredibly smart. Just then our guy knows something is very wrong. Suddenly, the snake, which seemed beaten, gets up and jumps to hit Yi and Shuang. Shuang freezes in fear, looking up as the beast gets close. But our main guy acts fast, jumping in front of her and using his lightning power to protect. With pure will, he lets out all his strength against the creature's open mouth. The monster then chomps down on the main guy and starts shocking him while the girls watch in fear. Yi and Shuang panic, seeing their little brother being eaten, is also in shock. Seeing this, Sansom screams her brother's name and she then jumps into the air and orders them to take down the monster fast. Her sisters look up, startled. Fueled by this, Ye and Shuang fill with anger and rush in, set to help with the battle. Together, the three sisters run full force at the snake, which has started to run away. With that, the snake tries to get away at high speed, moving across the sand toward the water. Papio uses her thorny vines to try and trap the creature. Her vines then wrap tight around the monster's tail to stop its scared getaway. However, the creature is too strong and breaks free from the vines with one whip of its tail. Seeing this, Yi turns on her wind skill and her eyes glow with a strong blue light. She uses Gale Step and launches her sister Shuang with a burst of speed. With this boost, Shuang flies quickly toward the monster's tail. She then manages to grab the beast's tail with her hands, trying to hold it back. The snake is surprised to be stopped and can no longer move to keep its getaway. Shuang yells for Shan to hit while she struggles to hold onto the giant creature. Shan then flies in with her red blade and yells for her brother to hang in there. Monster starts to roar. Suddenly, Shuang knows the snake's tail has been completely cut off, just like a lizard's. Without its tail, the creature keeps on running away scared toward the water, and with one last try, the monster manages to jump into the water to get away from the group. The three sisters panic and start to cry in fear, screaming for their brother. The group then stands on the lake's edge, watching the water in quiet and with great fear. A moment later, a large patch of purple blood spreads across the surface, showing the monster's wound. The other one watches with a serious and a little annoyed face, believing they have lost their brother. The three girls fall to the ground and start to cry sadly. But a message from our hero shows up, saying he is alive thanks to some protection gems. Relieved, they look at the blood-stained water and shout for their brother with new hope. Meanwhile, in the deep parts of the lake, the hurt snake swims away, trying to get away. Inside the monster's belly, our boy is alive, but covered in goo and unsure of what to do. Sanson then sends a message suggesting he use his god rebirth skill. She insists he hurry up and use the move, but he asks how it works. He explains that the move needs a woman's belly as a host for him to be reborn. Right away, all three sisters offer to be the host to save their brother. Seeing this, Papio smirks and calls the girls idiots for their behavior. She then says that since she is the oldest and his future wife, she will do it herself and tells him to hurry up. Our hero agrees and warns that he is going to wreck some things from the inside before coming out, then takes a deep breath. With a set look on his face, the boy gets ready to let out all his power at once. He then turns on his god, waking martial mode and the thunder blast, letting out huge energy. He fires an endless thunder ray with all his strength to hit the creature's insides. The hit is so strong that it pierces the monster's back from the inside out, causing major damage. With that, the snake starts to move in pain at the bottom of the lake from the inside electric shock. But a warning shows up, telling them that the space for rebirth is about to be passed. Our main guy then grits his teeth and keeps letting out his energy with maximum effort. With the non-stop shock, the creature sinks deeper and deeper into the lake without stopping. On the shore, Shuang asks if their brother has come yet, and why it seems like nothing is happening. Sanson sees the system warning and panics when she knows her brother is almost out of space. Scared, the three sisters send him messages, begging him to hurry. Inside the belly, our boy keeps fighting with all his strength to get away from the mess. His face shows the pure effort he is putting in to stay alive and finish his plan. He struggles so hard that he starts to spit up a strange black goo. Our hero focuses all his energy into one last scared final hit. Then a system warning pops up, saying his body is reaching its limit and he needs to be reborn. On the shore, his sisters scream for him to hurry up as time is running out for everyone. With that, the snake is shocked from the inside out and shakes in pain in the deep parts. But a note says the space has been passed and rebirth is no longer open. San panics and screams that he is out of space and she does not know what to do anymore. Suddenly, the guy's future wife jumps into the water, leaving Yi, Shuang, and Sanson in shock. She dives in with a huge splash. The sisters are frantic. They then shout both of their names, worried, looking at the ripples in the lake. Just then, some bubbles start to rise to the surface of the water, showing movement below. A moment later, Papia comes out from the lake alone and gasping, trying to catch her breath. The three sisters are totally stunned. She then struggles to swim back to shore, and the girls run to help her. Papiapia falls from tiredness and asks where their brother is and if he managed to get inside. Dabio Peo starts giving birth. Seeing her in pain, Sanson gets confused and asks her sisters if they know what to do. Yi and Shuang are just like, no, never seen anything like this before. A message from our hero pops up telling them to spread Pio Pao's legs. She screams for them to just do it and spread her legs like and now. As she screams her head off, the sisters help her through this hard moment. Po is in pure pain, feeling a pain that is almost too much to handle. And then our main character finally comes crawling out from between Piopio's legs. Seeing this, the three sisters breathe a group sigh of relief, shouting our hero's name. Panting Pio complains this whole birth thing was way too hard. Ye then picks up the baby and wonders if all newborns are this tiny. Sanson says their brother is not fully grown yet, which makes Shuang worried. At that moment, our baby boy uses a rebirth skill to speed up his growth. With that, a strong golden glow starts to come from his tiny body. The light then fades, and our guy complains he still has not gotten back his god power, clearly struggling to grow. In Yi's arms, our main character tries to say something but can only make baby sounds. Tanzan and Shuang lean in asking what he is trying to say. He starts to get seriously worried about our little guy. All of a sudden our hero turns completely purple, and he freaks out at the color change. While turning purple, our main character starts to shake all over. Then it clicks for Sanson, and she excitedly yells he needs milk to get better. Shuang Shuang quickly grabs a baby bottle. Shuang Shuang then offers the milk to her little brother, who is in Yas' arms, but she gets worried because the little hero does not even have the strength to drink from the bottle. Our main character panics. He's so low on energy he cannot even manage to drink. Seeing the struggle, he gets an idea and takes the bottle from Shuang Shuang. To Shuang Shuang's complete surprise, he starts drinking all the milk herself. He passes the food to him mouth to mouth. At that moment, yellow streaks of energy start crackling around our boy. With his energy back, our boy returns to normal in Ye's arms. Seeing this, Sanson and Shuang Shuang run toward them super excited and relieved. Afterward, our hero lets out tired sigh and says that was way too close. He hugs him tightly and starts crying with relief he is finally okay. Then we get a shot of a pretty landscape with a giant lake and some really odd-looking plants. Our boy then thanks his future wife for helping him come into the world once again. Peo smiles and says she is his fiancée, of course their family. The sisters then say they will grow up fast so they will not need his help anymore. Hippio finds the whole situation pretty funny and lets out a little smirk, but she quickly gets serious and tells everyone to grab the loot so they can go after the butt. That loot happens to be the giant purple serpent that was beat. The group then gathers next to the beast with our hero holding a golden flower. Now looking a bit older, he asks the group what their next move is. The main character, Fancy, tells him to eat the flower and level up right away. Ye thinks it is risky, but explains this is their best shot at getting stronger. At the mention of the butler, the girls remember him and look totally shocked. Our hero agrees with Ye, saying they need to finish off that old butler for good. With that, he eats the golden flower, and a strong yellow energy covers his body.